All right, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Young Guns podcast. This is the 28th episode of the Young Guns podcast and 28 episodes strong. Here with my guy, the Hub. We've been co-hosting this podcast for a while now. 28 episodes, and here's another edition. We've got some updates for you guys. Not too much Giants news going on right now, but we are going to talk about Daniel Jones, and we are going to talk about the rest of the NFC East and what are the implications of this game against Seattle. So, without further ado, what's going on, Hub?
Nothing much, man. Shout out to everybody in here already, man. We already got Wolves, David A.V., Tony B., Jaden Dawkins, Bradley, Edward Chan, Joseph Balby. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in, man. How y'all doing? I Wild Child is somebody I haven't seen in here in a long time. I remember that name from like way back in the day. What up, I Wild Child? Do you remember him? I feel like I remember that name from way back.
Maybe. I don't know. But what's going on, Wild Child? Reunions and all that stuff. So welcome in. You're always welcome. Everybody's always welcome here. Appreciate you guys joining in the chat. Joseph, Bradley says, let me get a year. Jaden Dawkins back in, and we were able to speak with Jaden Dawkins last time we were live, and that was a fun experience there. He says birthday week celebration. Yes. Me and the Hub are celebrating I should have probably put that in the title too. We're celebrating our birthday this week. This is the Young Guns podcast birthday celebration. As you guys know, me and him have consecutive birthdays that we did not even know about.
Yeah, that was crazy. I think, was it after a stream ended that we found out? It was like after a stream ended. It wasn't even during a stream.
No, I think it was at the end of the stream.
Oh, okay.
It was at the end of the stream where I was talking about, it's my birthday. I'm going out. He's like, it's your birthday? My birthday's on Tuesday. So that's just awesome. That's just awesome. David A.V., appreciate that day, the birthday edition.
Yo, we got Saquon Barkley in the chat, bro.
Saquon Barkley is in the building. Oh, and where's Saquon Barkley at? I don't know. It's not updating in my chat. Oh, it's scrolling back up.
Yeah,
okay. Saquon Barkley. Barkley, what's up, man? How's the knee doing, buddy?
We gonna need an update from you, Saquon.
We don't need an update from you, man. We'll check back up on you in about 10 months. So, what's going on? A 1-year cheap deal? What are you talking about? One cheap deal for what?
For Saquon, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know, but guys. So we got some things to get onto today. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Oh my God, bro! Bud Dupree tore his ACL.
No way.
Yeah. I know I'm laughing. I'm laughing out of shock, guys. I would obviously
it's just like that's the guy we were going to target in free agency, and that's now not going to happen.
This is per Pittsburgh Post Gazette, ESPN, Trib Live, CBS Sports, Behind the Steel Curtain, NFL.com. He might have torn his left ACL during that Steelers Ravens game. So that puts him out. It's already at the end of the year. That basically puts him out for next season as well.
Yeah, that next season he's done. So
he's done for 2 seasons.
He will be a free agent next season because he's not going to be part of the team.
So we could get into that actually if you want to before we get into anything else.
Yeah, we can. I mean, listen, Bud Dupree was a top tier pass rushing prospect in free agency this year. And, he was looked at to be a guy getting about $20 million or so, and obviously a big target for the Giants as we need some pass rush help, especially, a star pass rusher. Not that we really necessarily need one for scheme, but it would be nice to have one to fit in our defense. Pretty much one of the few missing pieces we have to our defense that we need. But Dupree, man,
I see Edward saying ACL is 6 to 9 months. People always say, but it usually always takes like a year for them to fully recover.
Listen, you could heal in 6 to 9 months, but the thing is, rehabbing and getting back to normal, making sure everything is back to where it was, that could take about a year. As you guys know, like Saquon tore his ACL in week 2. I mean, technically speaking, he would be back in like training camp, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to miss training camp next year. That's interesting. Bud Dupree out for the season, pretty much out for next season as well. I don't think he's really going to be playing next season. And if he does, he'll have to be signed by a team late because nobody's going to sign him. He's on a contract year as well. So he's going to be on the open market for next season. So that is very interesting. But we have our own injury news to go over as far as the New York Giants. I'm going to quickly share the screen here on the application window. We'll go over Giants.com. No, Chrome tab. We'll do a Chrome tab window here. Share. All right. So can everybody see it? You guys can see it?
They should be able to.
All right, cool. All right. So this is the recent article by Michael Eisen. Shout out to Jordan Renan. We're going to be citing our guys now. This is by Michael Eisen, senior writer and editor for Giants.com. Colt McCoy ready if injured. Daniel Jones cannot play. And we go over here. Basically, Daniel Jones was asked, I believe in a post-practice Zoom call. I guess this is with the press. And was asked if he was ready to play as if Seattle was today instead of Sunday. And he says, I'm not sure. So when you answer a hypothetical question with I'm not sure, that tells you're probably not ready.
Yeah.
He says here, I think luckily there's not a game today. And to think of a hypothetical here, I'm sure we all use the week to prepare our bodies and play on Sundays. That's part of the schedule and the way it works for all of us. So I'm not sure. My goal is to continue to improve throughout the week. And he says, of course, he wants to play. He just focused on, what he needs to do day to day to get back on the field and be back with the guys and do his job pretty much. And, it's going to be very interesting to see, Colt McCoy play for this team. Colt McCoy, 11-year veteran. He's been with the Browns. He's been with the Redskins, and he's actually played meaningful games before. Actually has won games with the Redskins, meaningful ones in the division against teams like the Dallas Cowboys. Don't know if he ever beat the Eagles, but I know he has beat the Dallas Cowboys before, and I remember watching that game as well. So it's not like Colt McCoy is a terrible backup. I don't think he's going to be that bad as everybody thinks he will be. He's probably one of the better backups in the league, true backups in the league. I'm not talking
McCoy even admitted after the game that when he came in, obviously he wasn't. I don't think anybody was expecting him to come in. He even admitted that, hey, man, there was a little bit of rust on me. He hasn't thrown a football with a first-team people in like months at that point, almost over a year. So there was a little bit of rust on him, which would explain a couple of really bad throws. So it's like I expect him to be better than what we saw in Cincinnati. But that doesn't mean I expect them to be great. I just expect them to be good. I expect them to be very, very average. You're going to see good throws. You're going to see bad throws. You're going to see very average throws. Jason Guy's going to need to adjust his scheme, but I'm going to be fine with Colt McCoy, man. He is the definition of a backup quarterback, and your backup quarterback, you're supposed to have one that you trust that could help run the ship for a couple of weeks, and I think that's going to be what he's going to do. He's going to run the ship for a couple of weeks. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what, there isn't a better matchup on this remaining schedule for Colt McCoy than the Seattle Seahawks. And I know that sounds crazy. Oh my God, he's facing Russell Wilson. It's going to be a shootout. Yes, it can be, but I think the odds of that are pretty even for the most part with how the Giants defense has been playing so far this season. And on top of that, this is statistically the worst pass defense in the NFL by a long shot. A historically bad defense. And when you use the word historical, it's bad. All right. So Seattle's defense is just that bad as far as pass defense goes. And Colt McCoy should have a pretty good day throwing the football as opposed to any other defense he will be playing in his first start with the new team. So I'm actually pretty confident that we're actually going to be playing Seattle as opposed to any other team. Like maybe, the Cleveland's defense as far as corners go and defensive backs are pretty good. I don't know if any of those guys are injured yet, but I know they still have like Denzel Ward and a couple of young corners in there that could really make an impact. But I'm happy that he's facing Seattle, and hopefully he could throw. If he has a game where he throws for like 250 yards, I think that's a pretty solid game for Colt McCoy, and I think that will be one that helps us win a lot.
See, now I don't expect him to do that just because I really think the Giants might lean on him a lot. And by the way, thank you, I watch out. He says, or she, I'm not sure who's that. They'll be turned into my stream on Sunday because the game isn't televised, and that's a weird one too. That's a 4 o'clock. That's 4 o'clock on Sunday. You're not home by 4, are you, KB?
I can try my best. If you know what, I'll probably be late. But
what if you could tune in at like halftime or something?
Yes, I'll definitely be able to tune in at that time. Yes,
I bet, because as of right now, the plan is I'm gonna have OGR and TSR on to call that game. If you come on a halftime, great. Now I know some people in the chat will not like that because anytime you tune in, we do lose. So I'm gonna have to say, if we're in a winning position and you pull up I
Oh,
might have to keep
if
you
we're
out.
winning, if we guys, everybody in the chat right now, if we are winning like 24-10, and I come in there at halftime and we lose like 27-24, I will never watch a Giants game again. And for you guys, for the culture, all right, I will say, you know what? I give in. It is what it is. That's gonna be my life. That's gonna be
Hey
my
man,
life.
listen, but speaking of which, the reason I am not too worried about the Seattle game, even if we lose, right? I think a lot of people are chalking up as a loss, which I don't. It's yeah, this game could honestly be chalked up as a loss. But the reason I think it's gonna be close, even if we win or we lose, is because we just gotta look at Seattle versus Eagles. That Eagles defense, I think we're an overall better team than the Eagles, both offensively and defensively. Their defense held the firepower of Seattle down to what, like 20 points, or was it like 24 or something? Very
I
low
believe so,
scoring
yeah.
game, right? And then the Eagles' trash offense scored at least 17 points on them.
Yeah.
I think we're better than both sides of the ball than Philly. So I think we could keep Seattle scoring down. I expect us to keep Seattle scoring down, and I expect our offense, even with a backup QB, to produce a little bit, because that's the only spot that's going to be missing. We got a backup QB, but for the first time in a long time, all of our receiving weapons are healthy, and the running game is going. So I expect us to put up some points. Whether we win or lose, I think it's going to be closer than what a lot of people are expecting.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And one thing, we're going to be without Daniel Jones, obviously. And I think that's pretty much a done deal. We're going to be without Daniel Jones. But one thing I've noticed is that offensively, the guys around him has been getting more consistent. And I'm a little bit more confident with interchanging a quarterback if these guys stay consistent. The wide receivers have been pretty consistent as far as health goes. Sterling Shepard is still on the field. I'm surprised by that. Darius Slayton still on the field, Golden Tate. A lot of these guys are healthy. CJ Board's back. I mean, we have 5 wide receivers on the roster. Who would have thought, huh? But Wayne Gomez running the ball very consistently. And if anything, Alfred Morris could come in to spell him. The offensive line is playing a lot more consistent. And Evan Ingram has had a lot of good moments. He's getting a lot of yards. He's actually becoming a pretty much a focal point of this offense for whatever reason.
I still don't know how to feel about that, to be honest.
You know what's crazy? He starts off making the mistake, besides that Eagle game that happened late, but he starts off making the mistake and then he starts picking it up a little bit. They don't make a mistake again. So we just don't know which Evan Ingram we're going to be getting. But, if Evan Ingram could just hang on to the football or not have it bounce off his hands and get it in danger of being intercepted, everything else is perfectly fine. His route running, I mean, if he were to catch, he has some spectacular catches, but can't catch the easy balls. If he just sticks to that, sticks how he played against Cincinnati, minus the fumble and minus the drop, his production will be just fine.
And real quick, shout out to LA Lou. I'm gonna let you get this.
Oh, that just popped up. I think yours is a little faster than mine. LA Lou in the building.
I have the actual YouTube on one screen and then the StreamYard on this one. Yeah,
that's why. LA Lou in the building. Long time no see, LA Lou. I don't know when was the last time you were in here, but I'm pretty sure you want us to beat Seattle for sure. He's a Rams fan. Hey kid, hey hub. The Giants can beat the Seahawks. Put Bradbury on Metcalf. Stack the box against the run and pressure Wilson. Play ball control offense and win the time of possession battle. Yeah, listen, in order for the Giants to win this game, fundamentals. Don't get too cute. You got to play conservative. We said this last time we were live. You don't need to get conservative against this team. You cannot make mistakes. You cannot take risks against a team like Seattle. Yes, they have the worst pass defense in the NFL, but they still are like 8-3 so far in the season. All right, so that tells you a lot that the pass defense really isn't so much of a factor of them winning or losing games, okay? That's just how potent Russell Wilson and his offense is. All right, so you just gotta play the fundamentals. He said it. Stack the box against a run, pressure Wilson, and keep everything in front of you in this game. So quick question, Hub. What is probably the matchup you're most looking forward to in this game? What are you keeping your eye on in this game?
I think it's the one everybody's keeping an eye on. It's definitely going to be Bradbury versus Metcalf, man. I definitely got to see how James Bradbury stacks up against a receiver line. Listen, Bradbury, and I said it as a joke all the way back in week 2 when he made that amazing interception on Allen Robinson. I was like, he's the best cornerback in the NFL. Ever since then, he's every single week, he's actually looking like the best cornerback in the NFL. And it's crazy to think that the Giants have possibly the best cornerback on the NFL on their defense and a top 5 middle linebacker on their defense. Not to mention a defensive line that as a whole is top 10 in the NFL. It's crazy to think that defensively we have such great pieces. And
Mhm.
I keep saying this, our defense is criminally underrated. It doesn't get enough credit for what it actually does. Logan Ryan, in these past weeks, I won't argue for the entirety of the season, but for like the past 5 weeks or so, it's probably a top 5 safety in the NFL with the way he's been performing. It's absolutely crazy how good this defense is. But Bradbury can lock down almost anybody. It's just a fact of DK is so new to the NFL in terms of, his speed, size, aggressiveness, catching ability. Although I will say he do be dropping some passes every now and again that I don't know how Bradbury's going to match up against DK. That's going to be so interesting to see. And in my opinion, even if this becomes James Bradbury's worst game of the season, all the Giants need to do is lock up everybody else. Lock up Tyler Lockett, lock up their third option, lock up their tight end, and we're going to be fine if DK is the only person that goes off.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when it comes to Bradbury and DK, the only thing I really worry about is speed, because James Bradbury is fast. I mean, in order to be a corner in the NFL, you got to be fast. But DK Metcalf is ridiculously fast, and when you match that up with his height and his catching radius, I mean, it's just a mismatch nightmare for a lot of corners in the NFL. No matter how good you really are, you've seen Darius Slayton completely just get trashed. I mean, Darius Slayton's not a terrible corner, but he was made to look like a terrible corner in that game against the Eagles. So, as far as DK Metcalf goes, it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And I don't think that James Bradbury is necessarily going to lock him up. I think they're going to both win, battles against each other.
I want to say this. What
Right.
Joe Yado just said is what I think we should do. I don't know if we are going to put Bradbury on DK, but I wanted to put personally Bradbury on Tyler Lockett because I think Tyler Lockett is still the number one in Seattle. DK might become the number one in a couple of years, but as of right now, in my opinion, Lockett is still the number one, both because, him and Russ have just way better chemistry and he doesn't drop important passes like DK does sometimes. And then double DK. I think that would be the smarter move. He says
Right.
Belichick is known for that. I think that's just the way to go. But hey,
Here's the
if
thing.
Bradbury can handle DK by himself, then all me.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I get the doubling on DK. I completely understand that part. But who is going to be that first corner? Who's going to be lined up with DK? Yadam? I mean, I just can't see it. Like, I know you'll have safety help, but the safety help will come through really if the ball is thrown downfield. But what happens when DK is running like an out route or a stop route or a dig route? I mean, it's going to take Logan Ryan a little bit to get there. So the double team really won't matter except to contain DK Metcalf. We need to try to keep the ball away from him, so I completely understand that, but at the same time, I just don't trust Yadam with DK. And yes, Yadam has been improving. I saw that in the comments earlier. Yadam has been improving. I will recognize that, but not enough for DK. LA Lou, another super chat. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. He said Bradbury is the best except for Jalen Ramsey. And of course, you gotta put that laughing emoji in there.
How has Ramsey been this year?
He's actually been playing pretty well. His statistics are up there with James Bradbury as far as like quarterback rating and yards allowed and all that other stuff. He's up there. He is up there. Jalen's probably having one of the best seasons of his career, actually.
Yeah, I want to go back to the offense real quick. Before we switch over to the defense side, we were still talking about Evan Ingram a little bit. The reason I really am against Ingram being such a great part of our offense is because I believe that your tight end should not determine your offensive success, and that is the direction that it seems Garrett is taking this in, and that made sense for when Ingram was. Listen, for a good stretch of the season, Ingram was our main weapon on the offense, and he was the one heavily used more than anybody. But that's because the wide receiver core was continuously injury prone, and we were continuously running with 4 guys in the wide receivers. So it made sense to kind of lean on Evan Ingram a bit. And this is something I'm going to throw out there. It's not necessarily a causation, but there was a correlation with the games where Evan Ingram were heavily leaned upon, and we didn't have a wide receiving, weapons that were healthy, and games that we lost. There was a correlation there. I'm not saying there's a causation there. I don't want to go back and lean to that when we have healthy wide receivers. If we have healthy wide receivers, then I believe you should use them. Use Evan Ingram as the weapon he is, yes, but don't lean on him when you got your healthy wide receivers.
Right, and we definitely need to, by the way, Josh Valencia in the building. I always say it, my favorite Miami fan. what's going on. He's the reason why I'm paying attention to the Miami Dolphins this year. I mean, I like what Miami's doing, especially with the implications of the Belichick coaching tree, and hopefully it translates to the New York Giants as well with Brian Flores there in Miami. But Josh Valencia is definitely one of the reasons why I pay attention to the Miami Dolphins. So shout out to you, man. You said, "What's up, Kid Blue in the Hub?" Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate it.
And Joe Gage, I said that. I said I'm throwing out a correlation. I'm not saying there was a causation. He said correlation doesn't mean causation. I did say that.
Right. You did say that too. But yeah, we definitely need to find a way to incorporate our wide receivers more. I've said this a couple of weeks ago, but Sterling Shepard, why do we just keep using Sterling Shepard on like 5-yard routes? And we're not. Listen, when Sterling Shepard was playing with Eli, Sterling Shepard was going downfield. Sterling Shepard was the yards after the catch, going downfield, down the seam, catching touchdowns. I remember him on a double move against Washington to catch one of the touchdowns in one of the games we blew them out in. That
Both him
like
and Golden Tate can get deep catches.
Right.
They're not known as deep threats, but they could run a couple of deep routes every now
and then.
They're both yards after the catch masters.
I don't know why we just put Sterling Shepard on like a quick little spot route and we say, hey, catch the ball just in case Darius Slayton is not open downfield. They're underutilizing Sterling Shepard. Listen, I think Sterling Shepard is still the most talented player on this team. I think he's more talented than Darius Slayton. My only issue is the injuries, okay? Mm-hmm. If you use Sterling Shepard a little too much, he will get hurt. But in my opinion,
Sterling Shepard is still our best receiving weapon.
Yes, I still think Sterling, because think about how consistent Sterling Shepard has been when he's been healthy. Golden Tate in the beginning of the year was that consistent guy, but Sterling Shepard was hurt. When Sterling Shepard plays, he catches everything. I mean, it's very rare.
That's what I define him as. You throw any ball Shepard's way, he will catch it.
And he will make those weird catches where he's like he stops in the air and just catches the ball. Sterling Shepard, the most consistent receiver on our team and the guy with the best catching rating.
And he's such a hard worker. I mean, when McCoy made that short throw last week, Shepard slipped, he still got up and caught it.
I can guarantee you can put him up there with Cooper Kupp or Christian McCaffrey. He's a great route runner. Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey, Sterling Shepard. I mean, there are probably only about 10 route runners better than Sterling Shepard in the NFL. I mean, this guy will make everybody break their ankles, okay?
Look, even the chat is saying it. This year, he's 82% on catching balls thrown his way. 41 to 50.
Exactly.
And you know what, Kid Blue? What you said, and I completely agree with it, we're underutilizing guys, and we're kind of boxing guys into a stereotype that they don't fit. Right. Like, we're boxing Tate and Shepard into the slot short route wide receivers, and they're not that. And that is why I don't like Jason Garrett's had a nice stretch, but it's why I wouldn't mind if he's gone next year, because this shows lack of creativity and lack of complexity in your offense, man.
Right. I wouldn't mind giving the Shaplinski guy a shot, man. You know, he's coming from some former good schemes. So I wouldn't mind seeing him being promoted to offensive coordinator if Jason Garrett doesn't figure out this offense. And, you know, I just hope he figures it out soon. I mean, he's had more than enough time to really figure out the personnel and what these players are good at. For crying out loud, he's played the Giants twice a year in the past with the Dallas Cowboys. He should know how these guys are utilized and should utilize. Listen, Sterling Shepard's first game ever, he caught a touchdown against the Cowboys on a wheel route into the end zone. I mean, that's how we should be using Sterling Shepard. Go deep with Sterling Shepard. He will catch the ball. He's only 5'10", but he mosses people all the time. So, Sean Alexander.
Listen, bro, our last great deep threat Odell was also just 5'10". Like, come on, man. They need to stop with this short receiver thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Y'all being heightists. All right. Right. The small people need some love too, and unfortunately, the Giants all they have are small receivers. So, back to what we were saying. As far as underutilizing receiver, I went off on a tangent about Sterling Shepard a little bit, but just in general, the Giants have been underutilizing, and more importantly, Jason Garrett has been underutilizing their receivers and their weapons, because we've been having the focal point of Evan Ingram. I get he has the talent to have that focal point, but he doesn't have the consistency to do so. Sterling Shepard has it. Darius Slayton, I think, needs, I have a lot of criticism towards Darius Slayton, but this guy really should be used a lot more. And it kind of pisses me off that, every time he's down, open downfield, he's just never targeted because he's never used as a first read or second read. He's always used as the last read.
You notice the one thing we're saying about all these receivers, they're all underutilized. Like,
exactly.
It's crazy how underutilized every single one of them are. Now, here's the thing, and I see Edward Chan literally just brought this up. I was going to say, It's been an injured receiving core. This and Cincinnati, probably the first times in a year where they're healthy. Cincinnati, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I expected a shift during that time. You were going up against a very weak pass defense with Cincinnati's pass defense
Right.
with a very healthy receiving core. And I didn't see that shift. I mean, Evan Ingram finished with 130 yards for crying out loud. Slayton was ignored after that one deep shot. Shepard and Tate were really Shepard we used as safety blanket. Tate, they tried to get the ball to him a couple times in the first half and didn't really see much of him in the second half. I would pray that the shift happens this week. I doubt it because Colt McCoy's in there, not Daniel Jones. That's what I'm worried about. You know what I'm saying? The shift is not happening. Right. And I also saw somebody else commented earlier, we're a team that can't have longer developing plays that take like 3 seconds to develop and whatnot. Well, now the offensive line is there. So I expect to see the shift. You know what I'm saying? That's what I should expect to see the shift. I just don't think it's going to happen because it's unfortunate timing of DJ's injury. And I really just think that Garrett is not that dude, man.
Right. And as far as Darius Slayton goes, there should never, like against Cincinnati, and this is not because I started Darius Slayton on fantasy at all, but maybe a little bit. I got a little saltiness in because AJ Brown scored 24 points and I benched him. But anyway, as far as Darius Slayton goes, there should be never a game where your supposed number one wide receiver only gets targeted twice and doesn't come up with a reception and you don't go back to him. Right, he had that stumble on that deep pass, and I believe he had another target as well. I can't remember exactly what that target was, but I mean, he wasn't targeted the whole rest of the game. I mean, at all. I mean, the second half at all. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. And I always say this when we talk about Darius Slayton and how much he's underutilized. Odell Beckham was constant in the beginning of games, constantly used on wide receiver screens, wide receiver bubbles, quick slants, quick little stop routes, just to get the momentum going and just to set the tone for the game. If Darius Slayton is your supposed number one wide receiver, you should be using him in the same way. I don't believe Darius Slayton is necessarily a number one wide receiver, but right now, if they deem him number one wide receiver, then treat him as such. Go ahead in the beginning of the game. Our first pass, it doesn't necessarily need to be the first snap. But our first pass, give him a slant, give him a wide receiver screen, give him a bubble, So
I do want to say I see that Edward saying Slayton was out for most of the game. I have his snap counts pulled up here on Pro Football Reference. He had 56 offensive snaps on Sunday against the Bengals. That was 69% of the total offensive snaps. That's a lot. All right. Now listen, I will say though, it is a decrease. Usually Slayton is in the 90s with his offensive snaps. And even in games here where he's in the 90s with his offensive snaps, we've already said he was underutilized, specifically Washington, Philly, Tampa Bay, where he was Tampa Bay, they did target him actually. But even in games where he's been in there a lot, more than 69%, he's been underutilized. But hey man, 56 snaps is a good amount. So he was not missing for the a good amount of the game.
Right. So Joseph Clark, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. He says, thank you. But I love that freaking profile picture, bro. That is sick, man.
Yeah.
He said, thank you. I don't like Garrett either. Yeah. I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with Garrett because, some weeks I'm like, yo, Garrett called a really good game. And then other weeks I'm like, why, after a touchdown, do you go ahead and pull off a Golden Tate throw? That makes no sense. After a touchdown and after they just scored on a return, you come back out with a Golden Tate throw? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. So,
that is a good point. Yeah, that is a good point by Edward there with the foot injury. First person I heard that from was She Got Sports the other night. I'm actually gonna pull it up right now and see if he's on the injury report.
No, he was not. He was not on the injury report.
And I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to Giants.com. I
don't believe he was. Let me see.
I am on the injury report.
Oh, no. He's there. He's there.
Limited practice.
Limited practice.
Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard's always been on the injury report.
Yeah, he lives there, dude.
I'm not even exaggerating. Every week that I do my preview videos, Sterling Shepard is there.
He lives on the injury report. And I'm not concerned about this because this is the same injury that he suffered, that put him on IR, is that toe injury. So he's probably just rehabbing it and they just got to put him on there.
So, going back to Edward, like I said, it's a good point, but I'm going to go back to just like I did with the snap counts. Even in games where he's, wasn't injured and he's played majority snaps, he's been underutilized. This is not just something off of Cincinnati that I'm arguing. I'm arguing over the course of the season.
Right. I completely agree with you, man. Completely agree with you there. Let's hope the Jets hire Garrett as head coach to groom Trevor. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. I'll take Shaplinski to. I'll promote up Shaplinski
And
all
I would
day.
love if Jason Garrett could prove me wrong. If he sticks with the Giants and next year we see some just a lot better, I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always want whoever's working for the Giants to succeed. We just know if they are going to succeed or not. And it's not looking like it's going to be a good path for Jason Garrett because, I mean, I really can't point off any examples right off the bat, but it's not very common that an offensive coordinator takes this long to really adapt to personnel, especially with him being familiar with this personnel for years now. I mean, I know Daniel Jones is a newer quarterback. He still faced them twice last year. And also, Sterling Shepard, he's faced for about 3 years now, 4 years now. Same thing with Evan Ingram. I mean, you should know how these guys are used. And I mean, he's definitely using Evan Ingram, that's for sure. I mean, but Wayne Goldman as well, or whatever the case may be. They should just be utilized a lot better. Just utilize a lot better.
And I do want to say, Edward and Davey bring up good points. A few weeks ago, our line wasn't competent enough for long development routes that Slayton develops. I would say our line has been competent since the Eagles game, and we did see him, once again, the best Jason Garrett game he ever called was Tampa Bay, and it's unfortunate that Daniel Jones had his worst game of the season there. That's all I want to see. I want to see game plans like we had during Tampa Bay. David A.V. says we also throw to different receivers each week. That is true, but we need to lean on them a bit more. This goes back to the original talking point of me saying I don't want to lean on Evan Ingram so much to the point that our success of the offense depends on Evan Ingram.
Right.
That's where we are right now. That Tampa Bay game, our success of the offense did not depend on Evan Ingram. We were spreading the ball.
MG says Evans is an enigma. He looks great one game, makes crucial drops and turnovers. Evans, I think he means Evan. I think he means Evan Ingram. Is just one of those guys who will never be what everyone thinks he is. Yeah, and when we drafted Evan Ingram, listen, I knew of Evan Ingram because I used to like watching Ole Miss, of course, because the whole Eli thing. So I always keep track of Ole Miss. So I watched Evan Ingram, and I thought he was a wide receiver. He wore 17, and he was a tight end. So I'm like, oh, I thought this guy was a wide receiver. And so when we drafted him, I was like, okay, mismatch nightmare, and that would be nice. But I wanted Ryan Ramczyk, and I'm still to this day, I still would have wanted Ryan Ramczyk. So I mean, he's a guy that I always had high hopes for, just never succeeded. LA Lou, thank you for another super chat, man. I appreciate that, LA Lou. He says, don't designate a number one wide receiver. Don't give the opposition someone to target and take away. You want a receiving core. Who do you want to target? You want a receiving core. Who do you want to target on the Rams, Steelers, Cowboys, Cardinals, and Chiefs?
And I want to say, I agree with this because we are designating Ingram as the number one receiver right now by using him so much. I agree with this. I think we should lean away from that. Now that we are healthy at that position, or at least most as healthy as we've been since the beginning of the season at that position, the receiving position, that's tight ends and receivers, I think we should lean away from leaning on Ingram so much. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, he as far as this one was going, he was talking about how I was saying the Giants are designating like Slayton the number one wide receiver. I get what you're saying there, LA Lou, but at the same time, even if you don't designate a wide receiver, just by trends, you would know who the number one wide receiver is, right? Like DK and Tyler, you were just saying, Tyler Lockett, you were just saying you think Tyler Lockett is still the number one wide receiver. And though they didn't really designate who that number one wide receiver is, it could be Tyler one week, it could be DK the other. So I don't mind. I get what you're saying, LA Lou, and I don't mind that whatsoever. But sometimes they don't treat Darius Slayton at all like a number one. I would argue the whole season they didn't treat Darius Slayton like the number one threat or number one wide receiver. They never, targeted him first. He's never on first reads. They don't, try to give him the ball every opportunity they can on screens or whatever the case may be. Just do it for one game, and see what happens. They haven't done it yet. That's my issue. Logan says, Kid Blue, do you remember dying last night on stream? When I got on.
That was after Bobby.
Oh yeah, that was Bobby.
Oh, that was Bobby.
That was single-handedly one of the most awkward moments I've ever seen in my life live, and I couldn't contain my emotion. I couldn't. You could cut the tension in the air with a knife. In that stream, I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wanted more of it. I'm not gonna lie.
So somebody else said, just remember whenever, I think it was Joseph Clark who said, remember whenever you think about benching Ingram, just remember Larry Donnell. And I agree. That's one of the frustrating things about Evan Ingram. I'm not benching him as many problems I got with him because
Right.
he is our best tight end. Like, it's not close. He is
Right.
our best tight end.
Mhm.
Let's not pretend like he's not the best option there.
And let me just put this in the air too. A lot of teams would probably, and a lot of fans of other teams would kill to have Evan Ingram. You know,
Mhm.
they would definitely trade. They would do whatever they can to get Evan Ingram, but they don't realize how much mistakes he makes and how much he can cost you a game. And that's the really frustrating thing about Evan Ingram. It will be different if this guy didn't have a lot of talent and we're using him for whatever reason, and we're just using him because we don't have anyone better, like Will Ty, right? And say he was making a lot of mistakes, he would have been gone in a heartbeat. But the only reason why this guy sticks around is that he makes plays. He has games a lot, like Tampa Bay last year and Cincinnati this year. So that's the real frustrating thing about Evan Ingram.
And while you were just saying that, in my head, I just convinced myself to giving Garrett one more year, just because I'm like, yo, listen.
I had to.
Thank you.
It's the fresh cut, like a cut, G.
It's the fresh cut, man. You could see a little bit of the fade on that side.
Hey.
I'm not sure if you could see it on that side. Anyway, I literally just convinced myself in my head to giving Garrett another year, just because I'm like, you know what? Him, like everybody else, especially on the offensive side, I got to give them a mulligan for the entire first year, just because the situation and just because he's going to be definitely rusty with play calling, given he's stepped away from it for so long. And you know what? Just give him a year, because it's his first year back as an offensive coordinator, his first year in the whole system, and everything crazy that's been going on. I literally just convinced myself to give him a mulligan this year. So I'm going to give Garrett another chance next year. I'm just going to give Garrett another chance next year, just because of the weird situation we're in.
Yeah, listen, if he doesn't get it going next year, I mean, something's got to give. Donnie says, I'm not going to put
because remember that picture.
Yeah, I'm not going to make that mistake again. But he says, congrats on 2K.
Thank you.
Jones should slide more. Yes, if anybody learned anything, it should be Daniel Jones, and that he needs to learn how to slide. But then again, I mean, Peyton Manning never knew how to slide either. But
did Peyton run as much as Daniel did?
Right, exactly. But Garrett won't be fired. That's why I'm hoping the Jets hire him. Oh man,
I see Wolf saying, should the Giants hire Josh? I'm not a Josh McDaniels fan.
I'm not. Yeah, every year he's linked to the Giants, and I'm like, dude,
his
no,
attitude
forget about
just
it.
doesn't seem right, man. So I'm not with it.
It's not for the Giants. And honestly, as far as offense goes, Patriots never really been great offensively. It's really been Tom Brady that really carries the offense. I mean, look at the Patriots this year. I mean, Cam Newton has like 10 rushing touchdowns, like 4 passing touchdowns. Okay.
They also, I will say, as devil's advocate, they ain't got no type of receiving weapons though.
Right, at all. And listen, part of that is due to the offensive coordinator, man. Sometimes, they're in control. And with Josh McDaniels having such a long tenure over there, you got to imagine he controls who's on the roster. So that's all his doing right there. I'm not a really big fan of Josh McDaniels. Logan says, Kiblu, please read. When you were wheezing last night, you sound like a raccoon on crack. Sorry, man. I couldn't hold it in. Could not hold it in.
And that's
got
another
a really
good
good run
reason
game too.
AA brings up the second reason he brought up, he hasn't even gotten really to get a good taste of Saquon yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I already just convinced myself to give Garrett another year, but I do want to see what he can do when he legitimately has, his hands on Saquon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna get it to as well. When we're talking about Jason Garrett, this whole offense was screwed up last year. I mean, in the beginning of this year, right? Screwed up. I mean, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, Saquon would touch the ball and he would instantly be tackled for 5-yard loss. I don't know what the hell happened there, and I don't know what the hell changed. But
The
whatever it
offensive
is,
line just improved. That's it. That's
right? Just
literally it.
like, I mean, it was like a snap of a finger, though. You know, it was like, yes, they gradually got better, but they quickly drove up and started to get better.
Joe Judge taking charge, man. Like
Exactly.
they were gradually getting better up until week 6, and then when Judge took care, like week 6, week 7, week 8 is like an exponential growth compared to the first 6 weeks being like a linear growth.
Right. And you know, you gotta imagine Saquon Barkley just sitting on the TV watching, like, yo, I can't wait to run behind this line next
Like,
year.
I'm about to
I'm
get
gonna tear
1,500
it up.
yards, bro.
I'm about to tear it up, man. And I'm not talking about my knee. Yeah. So yeah, I hope Saquon comes back and he has a really, really good season. And I hope this offensive line stays consistent. Jaden says Shane Lemieux is very impressive for a 5th-round pick. Yes, he is. And I think for the most part,
he was also supposed to go like 3rd round or something too.
Right. And I think me and you, Hub, for the most part, we kind of expected this from Shane Lemieux. I mean, we kind of had our disagreements on when they were actually see the field, but I think we both kind of thought, hey, this guy could be a starter in the future.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with the entire Giants offensive line class that we drafted this year, we were both confident that all of these guys were going to be good starters. And in the case of Andrew Thomas, would be a great starter. And I said this at the beginning of the year too. I was like, Matt Peart has potential to be better than Mekhi Becton. I still stand by that. I'm not, if he reaches that, I don't know. I think, you know, give Matt Peart a couple years under his belt and he's going to be just as good, if not better, than Mekhi Becton is in the league. Because Matt Peart, to me, is Mekhi Becton without the injury and weight problems. They're literally the same size. They're not the same weight. They're same size.
Mm-hmm.
Peart has longer arms actually, and they're the same prospect. They're both that experimental prospect that you take a chance on and you see if you can mold them into what they can be.
Right. And Edward Chan brings up a comment here. Becton is amazing right now. Yeah, I heard Becton is playing really, really good. I did not
He's
expect
also
that.
injured. Is he not?
Right.
Has he not also faced injuries?
Yeah,
this year?
he's also been injured this year as well. So I don't know how much he's been injured this year, but I heard that he's been playing pretty well. But I heard Jedrick Willis is right now, according to Pro Football Focus, the highest graded tackle this year.
Which is not surprising because
right, he's coming from Alabama.
A lot of people had Wills rated as the best. I had Thomas and Wills as the top 2.
Right, so did I. And then I had Wirfs, and then I had Becton. So and you could argue Peart ahead of Becton. You know, I liked Peart that much. I really like Peart that much, and I don't even want to get started on Austin Johnson. He's garbage.
Hey, yo, listen. Is Peart gonna, when he comes back off of this COVID list, if they don't put this man in as starter ahead of Cam Fleming?
Oh man, if we learned anything. What game was that? Was that Cincinnati?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
It was Cincinnati.
2 flags, two fouls.
Oh my God! If we learned anything, is that Matt Peart needs to come back immediately, man. Oh my God, he needs to come back and start immediately, and not just take snaps. I mean, take full control of that right tackle spot. Matt Peart deserves it. He's been playing up to par. There's nothing left for him to really show out of the snaps he's been given, because every single snap he's taken, I don't think he's ever he hasn't allowed a sack yet. And I don't know how many pressures he's allowed since for his limited snaps, but he's absolutely playing great. And, you know, for a guy that has limited snaps and playing both left tackle and right tackle, whenever the coach decides to throw him out there, not even getting a chance to warm up against these players, he's playing fantastic. Edward Chen said he's allowed a sack. Okay, thanks for Edward for just ruining it. But
shout out to Calvin in here. You might need to scroll up. His comment just went in there. Best Arizona Cardinals fans we know. Josh Valencia is the best Dolphins fan. Calvin, he been great supporter. I think he can't remember when he stumbled upon our channels, but this man's a real one, man.
Yeah, he says covering DK is gonna be tough, but feel the Giants D has what it takes to mess with Wilson. McCoy is no slump, and if he plays, might act as that one unknown Seattle's D wasn't prepared for. We'll see. So that's a very interesting comment you put in there, Calvin. I didn't really think Colt McCoy would ever be taken as a threat, but it seems like maybe
all he's saying is he's not a slump. He's not
right.
Saying
he's not a slump. Yeah, I hope so, and I hope the Giants have what it takes to mess with Wilson. I think we do. The only problem is,
listen, bro, Eagles. I know they have more sacks than us, but the Giants are better in terms of our Giants' defensive line and pass rushing
Yeah,
presence,
but the thing
we're
is, they
better
have.
than the Eagles in every single way except for the amount of sacks that we got.
I know, but I'd say their edge rusher have. I mean, their defensive line has a lot of speed, and I don't think this Giants team has a lot of speed to keep up with Russell Wilson.
Cam Brown.
Cam Brown, but I mean, it's Cam Brown at the same
and Carter
time.
Coughlin, bro. Both
Right,
of them
but remember, we're depending on two sixth-round picks to contain Wilson.
I will say this.
You're telling me you're not a little scared about that?
I will say this. I'm not scared on Cam Brown because I say it every time he's on the field. No matter every time I see that man Cameron Brown on the field, I say the same thing because it happens. He's always in the backfield. He's always getting pressure, and it makes zero sense. But he's always by the quarterback.
Makes zero sense.
It literally makes no type of sense. This man is too small to be getting pressure as consistently as he does. Now, where I would be worried is that they're both now starters because of how injured we are. Kyler Fackrell's on IR. I'm worried about that. I think a good part of Cam Brown getting pressure is that he was rotational.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't know.
It's gonna be it might be a Lorenzo Carter situation.
I don't know why, but the Giants put my boy Nico Lalos back on the practice squad after he had a great debut game. Why did they put Nico Lalos back on the practice squad?
I love me some Nico Lalos, man. Oh well, they had to activate the guys off of COVID. That's what had to happen.
Were you gonna put the man who had such an impactful game in his debut on the practice squad?
I mean, who are they gonna take out?
Montre Hardridge or something?
Damn, man, no love for Montre Hardridge.
Nah, zero love for me, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I like Nico Lalos, man, especially as an undrafted free agent. I had a feeling this guy would probably wind up making the team. So we'll see what happens with the front seven, man. I'm very interested to see how
we put him on the practice squad to activate Dante Pettis. Man, get Dante Pettis back on the practice squad,
We've got 6 wide receivers, guys.
I don't care.
We've got 6, and they're all injury prone.
Listen, 5 is good enough.
Listen, and they're all injury prone.
5 is that sweet spot. I would rather have Nico Lalos over Dante Pettis. All right.
Can you believe it's not impossible? But with the wide receiver core that we have, even though we have 6 guys activated, can you believe it's not impossible that all those guys can get hurt in one game?
Yeah, I mean, didn't we see that? Was it?
What game was that? Where CJ Board got knocked out?
Where everybody got knocked out. Everybody got knocked out. We were down to literally 2 wide receivers. I forgot.
No. CJ Board literally got knocked out. I'm talking about when he got knocked out. I hate laughing about situation. That. Yeah, I hate laughing. But it's just like it would.
We're laughing at the fact that literally every single wide receiver went out that game. I can't remember what game it was.
Somebody will point it out.
With the group we have right now, everybody could get knocked out in one game, bro. I forgot what it was.
Oh man.
Oh, we still do have Jabal Sheard. That's a good point there, Bond. Jabal Sheard, and he's been getting more snaps.
Yeah.
Because just because of this situation we're in, even when Kyler Fackrell was in there, Jabal Sheard was getting a good amount of snaps. I do like me Jabal Sheard.
Let me tell you, I'm surprised Jabal Sheard was even available.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was he part? He was part of the practice squad.
He was from the Colts practice squad. I'm telling you right now.
No, I think he was on Jacksonville's at the time.
Oh yeah, he used to be on the Colts. Oh
he used to be. He played well for the Colts. He played well for a lot of teams. But
the only reason he was on Jacksonville's practice squad is because they're actually good at outside linebacker.
Right. So I mean, listen. It's a steal for us. So hopefully we'll be able to keep him around. He's probably the best bet we have of containing Russell Wilson in this game. And Cam Brown, like you said, Cam Brown and Carter Coughlin have that speed. But let's see if they have what it takes as a talented player to really contain Wilson. Because, he's dealt with some experienced guys before.
I'm going to say this. I want, and don't be surprised if Patrick Graham moves this man, Jabril Peppers, into the outside linebacker role a couple times this game.
Oh, no, don't say that, man. I don't want
that. No, just because of how thin we are.
Yeah,
because I think if it's not Peppers, it might be McKinney, just to get a fast guy to get pressure on him from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could happen.
Well, I could see Devontae Downs playing outside linebacker a little bit.
I mean, that is his former position.
Yeah, his former position, so I could see him playing a little outside linebacker. But I want Jabril. I want every guy that can cover out there, covering Lockett, covering DK. Huh?
All of a sudden, you think Jabril Peppers can cover?
Listen, it doesn't matter if I think he can or he can't. I need this guy out there playing.
He had game in Cincinnati coverage-wise, though. He almost got that jump, that leaping interception. Jabril is just looking good, man. We're talking about re-signing everybody and we haven't touched upon that yet, but the big name was Leo and Dalvin. We got to re-sign Jabril. He's going to be on his 5th-year contract, the 5th-year
Yeah.
extension this upcoming year, but you would want to extend him this offseason.
Right. It's gonna be very hard to keep this Giants here. Like, hopefully, I want them to build like a New England type of culture where guys literally come here and get paid less to be a part of this team and be a part of the family and the culture and try to
At
win the
least
Super
Dalvin
Bowl.
wants to, and thank God for that. If he means
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
He did
and
say that.
and Jabril is a New Jersey kid. He's from the tri-state area. So
Edward, he's not on his 5th. Jabril was drafted in 2017. This is his 4th.
yeah, this is 4th year, just like Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram also has one more year too.
Yeah, both of them are going to be on their 5th next year. So we need to extend them this. Well, I'm not sure about Ingram, but we need to extend Peppers this offseason.
Jaden says, screw it. Put KB at cornerback 2 and hold the outside linebacker.
Listen, I got you. Shift Leonard Williams out to outside. Put me in and Leonard Williams. I'll be a defensive tackle.
Yeah. I'll play some corner. I'm gonna have to play the slot though because I'm a little smaller. I tell Darnay to move over. I'll play dime or something. Oh man, Seattle was living in the swing pass to the RB. Well, they do that a lot. They do that. They utilize their running backs heavily.
And I'll
Seattle.
tell you, if they rely on it like they did, I know what Joe was saying because
they're gonna die. They're gonna die. Jabril will kill them.
They did it so many times against the Eagles. Our safeties, not even just Jabril, our safeties will blow that up.
Oh my God! Think about how much our safeties are stacked this game. We've got Julian Love, Jabril Peppers, Xavier McKinney, and Logan Ryan. Dear God,
one of them is gonna have to be used on a
one
spot.
One of them is playing corner. Well, yeah, definitely. And
one of them is gonna have to be down there, just keeping your eye on Russ, man.
Who would you put? Who would you put as a spot?
McKinney, just because the other two are already established.
I would say McKinney because I think he has more. I think he has the best sideline quickness out of anybody in the safeties. Julian Love is good, but he doesn't have the awareness. I don't think he's up there yet. Logan Ryan's great.
All Nona says rip Julian Love because next year I don't think Julian Love's gonna be on the team next year, bro.
No, he's definitely not gonna make the cut. And listen, I wouldn't mind trying to trade for him. If we get a quick 6th rounder for Julian Love, he's still a good player. He's a good player.
He's a good player, which is why I would love to keep him on like the vet minimum deal or something like that. But he's a good player, but he's not so good that any team would actually try to trade for him, even if it's like a 6th, 7th round pick. They just pick him up for free agency.
Right. I think they would do that as well. But if we can get anything, or we could package him for something, I wouldn't mind that as well. Because I think Julian Love is just a good enough player that you can get compensation for. So I want to try to get that first before I let him go. But yeah, listen, especially if we draft another corner next year and like the whole thing of, maybe he'll switch back to corners out the window. So we'll see what happens. And it also depends if we keep Logan Ryan. It not so much that if we want to keep it. It all depends if we can afford to keep him.
It all depends on if we could afford to. I'm going to say it again. Every single person on this defense that's a starter or has a starter impact, we need to keep. So that's everybody. That's literally all the starters right now. You know what I'm saying? Defensive line, inside linebacker, at least inside linebacker number 1. Cornerback, well, we already got the cornerback locked up, and safeties. Both safeties, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna say this right now: if we lose both Logan Ryan this season, and for some reason we fail to lock up Jabril Peppers and he walks next season, I'm gonna be so done, bro. I'm gonna be so sad. I'm gonna be so depressed.
Poor Xavier McKinney will be by himself.
Yeah.
So Yvette says, put Jabril at outside linebacker spot and let McKinney get some reps along with Julian Love. I think he means like an inside. We run a 3-4, so I think you mean inside linebacker spot. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I was saying outside for a couple of snaps just for blitzing packages. He wouldn't even be placed. He'd just be a safety that comes down. But yeah.
Edward Chan says, as far as the spies going, not McKinney, not proven yet. I can understand what you're saying there. But if you look at the athleticism, you have to match that athleticism that Wilson has. And I think McKinney has the skill set to do that. Jabril is good, but Jabril's more of a hard hitter, more than a sideline guy. I want to keep him for those moments to, lay the boom on running backs out the backfield or whatever the case may be. And Logan Ryan is a coverage machine and also a hard hitter as well. So I want to keep him back there as well. So the only odd man out is Xavier McKinney, and I want him. He has that sideline to sideline quickness. He has the breaking ability, and I want him to spy up on Wilson. We got to match that athleticism.
Do you think Logan would consider coming back on a
Oh
discount
hell
deal?
yeah! This guy loves being here. You see his freaking press conferences and
I know, but
the whole
hey,
thing that
listen,
happened with his wife. I mean, he owes us. You stay here. You stay
I
here.
I want to think that, but hey, until a
Right.
player
He
says
might
they're
chase
coming
the
back on a
bag.
discount like Dalvin
Yeah.
does, I'm not taking that.
It
So I
really
would hope
seems
he does.
he's been probably one of the most outspoken guys
He's been
on
the
this
best
team.
leader this year.
Right. No, not just that, like outspoken of how much he loves this team. Like you see on the press conference, like he has nothing but good things to say. And remember, this is a guy coming from a Patriots organization where their culture is like winning culture and family like over there.
What do
Even though
we have
they're
him on right now? 7 mil deal, 1 year, 7 mil.
7.5 mil, yeah.
Listen, I see Edward saying 5 mil. I wouldn't even come back for 5 mil. But if
Yeah,
we could
you
keep him
wouldn't.
on like a 8 mil over like 3 years deal, I would love that.
Oh my god,
But
I
it
would love
basically
that.
be what he's getting paid right now, which is
Yeah.
fair, I think. That fair in terms of it's a discount for sure. But damn, I would love if you come back like an 8 mil deal over like 3-4 years.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Who knows where Jabril would be paid around. I think that the highest paid safety in the league is Landon Collins, I believe, with like
No, I don't
four.
think it's Collins anymore.
Oh God, it went up even more now.
Let me look up.
Listen,
I'll
yeah,
look it up.
this cap is gonna plummet. So anybody that's overpaying for players like Landon Collins on Washington they're gonna suffer. These teams are gonna suffer. So the Giants need to be smart and
So
not.
the top paid safety right now is Buda Baker. He's getting paid 14.75 mil a year. Behind him
Wow.
is Eddie Jackson, 14.6. Then Kevin Byard on the Titans, 14.1.
Oh my God.
Then Honey Badger on the Chiefs, 14. Then Landon Collins, also 14.
Mm.
Then McCourty. There's a big drop off here from Landon Collins. The next highest player is McCourty, which is 11.5. So
Okay,
that's a big drop off.
I can honestly see like Logan Ryan's having a Pro Bowl year, yes, but I think he realizes that he's probably past his prime and all this other stuff. Well, how old is Logan Ryan? Like 30?
Uh,
Because once you
I
hit
don't know.
30,
I
I
want to
mean,
say he's like 28, 29. I could be completely wrong.
please say he's a little older than that.
He's 29.
All right. So next
That's
year,
why
by
I'm like,
next off
that's why I'm like
season,
a 3-year deal would be nice.
but I'm talking about the money issue. Like once you hit 30. The money you receive, if you're not an elite player, the money you're receiving just goes down. I mean, 29 to 30 is a huge difference in money. So I just in the offseason, I just hope he's 30 and we can get him back for, like I said, like a three-year, $24 million deal. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. So
Yeah.
we'll see. There's no way he's going to get over like 10 or whatever. I don't think so. Like Devin McCourty's making 11. There's no way he gets 10. So. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. About to be 30 is 29.
So
Giants
how much do you think Jabril would get?
Yeah, that's another question. Yeah, Jabril.
How much are we gonna pay Jabril Peppers?
Honestly, Jabril,
he's young.
of course, these young and somewhat decent players are always going to try to start at the top and say, "Hey, I want this amount of money for. I want to hit 15." He's never going to get that. It's going to keep dropping down. He's not going to get more than Landon. He's not going to get 14. That's for sure. I'm
really think he's
thinking
not gonna get 14.
if he leaves the Giants, he's going to get around.
If he leaves the Giants, bro.
If he leaves the Giants, he's going to get 11 or 12. Because Devin McCourty's making 11, he's no way he's going to get like 13, 14, 15.
I want to pay Jabril Peppers 12 mil.
You would pay?
I would pay him 12 mil. That's
12
what
mil?
I would want to pay him. If he's the Giant, if he sticks with the Giants, I would be willing to pay him 12 mil. It depends how all of our other salaries are looking for other players.
Right.
But Edward Chance says 10 to 12. I think it might be.
In negotiations, where would you start?
If I'm the Giants?
Yeah.
Well, you would start as low as you can.
Yeah.
But
what do you think is fair as a low offer that he doesn't say, like he doesn't spit in your face and walk away?
Has to be 10. Has to be at least double digits.
Okay.
Has to be.
All right. Fair enough. He wants more, 10 to 12. Yeah. We're just spitballing here.
And then Edward, of course with with Leo now, if he wants to get paid as a defensive end, but I think we're gonna pay him as a.
Yeah, he's gonna want that everywhere. He's gonna want that everywhere he goes. He's not gonna get it anywhere he goes. Well, actually, another 3-14 probably. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna say this, and even though I really think Leonard Williams makes this defense work beautifully, I still have a hard time saying I'm gonna pay you 20 mil because that's Chris Jones, DeForest Buckner, and Aaron Donald money.
Yeah,
they're the only defensive tackles being paid 20 mil or more.
Exactly, and although Leonard Williams is playing great, look at the year that DeForest Buckner is having. You tell me if Leonard Williams is.
I am paying Leo. 17, bro. 17 is the highest I could go with him.
17. Take it or leave it. Take it or
Like,
leave it.
oh
17.
my God. A vet says no, 14 is actually too low for what he's having. I think 14 is actually too
Yeah,
low.
it's a little too low. You seen other pass rushers
And then
that much.
the thing is with Tomlinson, he says he's willing to come back on a discount. So before we talk about discount, if
Yes.
he wasn't willing to come back on a discount, Tomlinson, I would probably have given maybe 13 or 14, right? So then if you apply that discount to that, how much does that bring it down to? Like, how much is he actually willing to
It
get
all
paid? We're
depends.
talking 11 mil. Is
Yeah.
he actually willing to come back for 11 mil while his teammate Leo is going to get paid like 17 or something?
How about you come back for like 9? How about you come back for 9?
And by the way, Leonard
Please.
Williams with the franchise tag, he's getting paid like 16.126. So I would love if we could just be like, hey man, listen, we'll give you that. We'll give you 16 and a half over 4 years, bro. So you still getting top money, but it's not like 20. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, listen, I can't wait till the off season. Well, I can't wait till the Giants have their postseason because I believe they're actually going to make it. But this offseason is going to be very eventful, very very eventful because the whole Dave Gettleman situation, Jason Garrett situation.
And it's crazy that I'm saying this because me and you we get like slammed as Gelman stands. We both like Dave Gelman, and it's crazy to think at the beginning of the year we're like he needs to stay here. And we just thought he's gonna get fired. Now I'm like, hey, yo, he might actually stay. So that's pretty cool.
I'm hoping Dave Gettleman stays, man. I really fear a new GM coming in here just screwing everything up more than it already is. And Dave Gettleman needs some time. Everybody wants this a microwave freaking team. But it's not gonna happen that way. I'd much rather tell you what. Everybody wants to see the Giants go like 11-5. Like these past, like ever since we had Gettleman, they had these expectations that, oh my God, he's going to do what he did with Carolina. We're going to the Super Bowl. I'd rather have a team that gradually gets better and builds a dynasty rather than a team that just is a flash in the pan and has in the GM's first year, they go 11-5, or the GM's third year, they go 11-5, and then they just completely die out. Right? Like the 2016 New York Giants. I don't want that again. Okay. If I have to wait a couple of years for this team to develop and build a actual respectable franchise and a dynasty here, I'll wait. I'm already having fun this season. This team's 4-7. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm patient enough as it is. I already see what's in the future for this team, and I'm completely excited to what is to come. Listen, say we finish the season not making the playoffs and we finish 5-11, I'm still going to go into next season thinking we're the best team in the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to go into this like it's already a done deal. I already think that we're the best team in the NFC East, and next year I expect for us to develop even more. So.
And yeah, Joe, bro, we've been preaching that since the beginning too. I see Joe saying that he's been saying Gettleman is the Giants GM since the beginning of the year. The very first collab me and KB did over on my channel, that was like the main thing we talked, and it wasn't even planned. It just came up. That was the main thing we talked about. So that's over 28 weeks ago because the Young Guns didn't start, I want to say, until maybe a month or two later after that collab. And Edward said he posted something on my Discord earlier. I have it pulled up here. This is what Edward posted in the Discord. Leonard Williams has converted 6 of his 21 pressures into sacks. That's 28%. Percentage-wise, that's Aaron Donald territory.
Share screen?
Add in, huh?
You want to share screen?
Oh, I'm sure I'll do that. It's a screen capture of a of a tweet that he posted in the Discord, right? So Williams has converted 6 of 21 pressures, 28%. That's Aaron Donald territory percentage-wise. And then he has 11 QB knockdowns. Of course, he has been very effective in the run game. So he has been really, really good. I'm still not giving him 20, but that's on like 17. I'd be comfortable with. I see Dante Barrios says, considering he's still young and he could get better, he would give him 18. Like that 17, 18 right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
While stats wise he might be close Aaron Donald, he's not Aaron Donald.
Right, exactly. And so he shouldn't be getting that kind of money. And I'm sure if you were to go to and compare DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, he still wouldn't be on that level. Like Chris Jones was having like a fantastic streak where he was averaging like a sack a game. Okay. That's not happening with Leonard Williams. He has 6 sacks on a season, and it's good for the Giants because we haven't had really a productive sack artist since JPP
I'm about to sound so contradicting to my own argument against Leonard Williams because the thing is, I think he is going to be. I'm about to sound so contradicting. If he comes back next year, I think he's going to be way better than he is this year because he's doing this without an edge threat.
Gotcha.
He's doing this without an edge threat.
Yeah,
whether or not we get somebody in free agency for the edge, we're going to have an edge threat because Carter and Zimenez are going to be coming back. At the very least, Carter. So we're going to have a respectable edge rusher coming off that would give him a little bit more leeway to work with and logically should help him improve, how he's doing in the pass rushing game. So I know I'm sounding contradicting, but it's just one of the reasons I want him back so much.
Yeah, I really want him back, man. I want to make sure he's back here, but the price has to be right, man. I just can't break the bank for Leonard Williams because, although his production has been great and has been much appreciated for this team, what does he have? 6 sacks on the season right now? I mean, it's nothing to really the double take on, right? His stats aren't really like, oh my God, he's having Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he's having a really good year right now, but the price has to be right for Leonard Williams. Guys like Chris Jones, DeForest Buckner, a lot of these pass rushing interior guys, Aaron Donald, those are guys you would just throw your money at and you would build a defense around. Leonard Williams just isn't that guy yet, but he is a very productive guy on our team. Logan Ryan says, please read from week on.
Did you say Logan Ryan?
Did I say Logan Ryan?
You said Logan Ryan.
Sorry, I was thinking about it. Logan's Gaming Lounge now has a new profile picture. He's looking pretty sick. He says, please read from week 1. I guess he said, I could not just have fun watching football because I was worried about tanking for Trevor and all those stupid things. Now I'm just enjoying Giants football. Yeah, doesn't it feel so much better actually, watching these games and not being like, yo, I can't wait till I have Trevor Lawrence, or I can't wait till this guy gets fired and this guy goes and screw Daniel Jones. Doesn't it feel a lot better? And notice how we're not getting all these tank for Colts isn't around.
I don't know, but our sub base, some of them have forgotten how pro Gettleman and pro Daniel Jones we are because we haven't had to defend them in like the past 5 weeks. Don't forget, y'all. We were on the front lines.
They've been doing the defending for us.
Yeah,
they've been in the chat for us.
I'm gonna share my screen again.
Yeah,
because I know not everybody has done this yet. So y'all better do it with me right now, bro. Listen, I'm at the Pro Bowl vote. This is about to be my 41st time voting. First of all, I do want to say this man here for the Saints. He's such an enigma. I have no idea how he has not.
Dude, that dude has the weirdest body type. We might have to pull up a picture of him soon, man. Later on, we'll pull a picture about him, man.
You already know. Dexter Lawrence. I'm gonna click that man. Defensive tackle. I let it load.
I really like how they.
Yo, this is gonna feed it. This is gonna feed into that stat I shared earlier, where he's in Aaron Donald territory for a defensive tackle. He's second only to Donald in terms of sacks.
Oh,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you're not helping your case here. Look at Chris Jones in the back.
And then get the homie Dalvin Tomlinson, inside linebacker. You already know. Gotta get this boy Blake Martinez. Outside linebacker, I'm not really. There's nobody on the Giants that I'm willing to vote. Cornerback, 100% James Bradbury, man. And actually, that's it for corner. Strong safety, I'm gonna go with Jabril Peppers. There he be. Free safety, I'm gonna go with the man. I'm not sure if he's still leading it, but a couple of weeks ago he was leading all free safety votes in Logan Ryan. Then we're gonna go over to special teams. Cannot forget Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, Obi-Wan. That rolled off the tongue.
Cannot forget Casey Crater, who, by the way, Casey Crater, when he was with the Broncos in 2018, was a Pro Bowl long snapper. So there's that. And can't forget Riley. Now, Riley Dixon didn't have a great game this past game, but he's been.
Look at that 71-yard bomb. Who has the closest to 71? You got Dixon with 67.
I think that's it. Dixon
and then Fox 67, wow. 66.
Yeah, he got it by a mile. 71.
He's got it.
He got
it. Oh, no, he got beat.
Where?
He got beat, right? Borquez. Is that a girl? Look at Tommy Townsend on the Chiefs. Looks like a female, dude.
Oh, yo, he does.
Wait, but no, Borquez for the Bills.
There he is, yeah.
72.
Okay. All right.
Oh, that bastard.
But you already know. That's who I'm voting for, man. Pro Bowl. About to review these selections. About to submit it. That was my 41st time. 4-1 voting. Y'all need to go and vote these dudes in, bro. Go in there and vote these dudes in. Straight up.
Oh, God. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, Yvette said he voted 6 times yesterday and 3 times today.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you guys might be on the case, the Donald Trump case, man. Voter
Hey,
fraud here.
at least with the NFL Pro Bowl vote, they're like, yo, just do it however much you want.
Yeah, right. Love it. Y'all better vote, right? We get those stickers. We voted. Y'all better vote. Your future depends on it.
At the very least, man, get these four specific dudes in, and it's gonna be
Right.
hard because it's a popularity contest at the end of the day. So there's legitimately people out there that think zero Giants deserve a Pro Bowl because they don't watch the Giants like that. They just see our record and that's it. But at the very least, it's gonna be hard to get these four dudes in: Leo, Blake, Bradbury, and Peppers, or you know what, Peppers or Ryan, one of the safeties. At the very least, get those four dudes in.
I want Bradbury at the least because he's been having such a balling year. Okay, so MG says, don't want to be a spoiler, but 2 weeks ago, we were down in the dumps. Now playoff talk. Before we award Super Bowl trophies, any more than 2 losses, and it will be another bad year.
I disagree slightly.
I honestly think,
think
with even if we lose 3 more games, I think we have a chance to make the playoffs.
Not even that. Even if we don't make the playoffs, this is a successful year in my book because this is what I want to see at the beginning of the year. You talk about improvement. The Giants have improved from week 1 to now, but it's like we said earlier, just like with the offensive line, from week 7 to now, it's been just a massive improvement, like such a big jump in improvement with injuries and with an inconsistent roster health-wise. We've improved a lot, and I love what I'm seeing from the product out on the field, and it's a great, testament to the coaching staff. So that's one check mark right there from something I want to see at the beginning of the year. Now, at the beginning of the year, I did predict 7-9. I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Right.
But we might end up with 5-6 wins, and I'm okay with that because going into next year, I think we're the best. I think we are one of, if not the best team in the NFC East. It's legitimately between us and Washington, and hopefully, if health-wise things both for us, with another offseason, with some new draft picks to fill out some holes, with a couple free agent signings to fill out some holes, I think we're going to be there. So that's why I'm like, this is going to be a successful year, even if we come second place in the NFC East.
Yeah, completely agree. And to your point, MG, I get what you're saying. But as far as I can only speak for myself, I don't know about anybody else, but making the playoffs is not the be all end all for the season. And none of us even expected this. I don't care who you are. None of us expected the Giants to be in position to make the playoffs this year and actually have a shot. We just want it to happen because it's our favorite team. We want our favorite team to make the playoffs.
Right now, we have a mathematical chance.
Right. And so it's not the be all end all. My thing is that I just want this team to develop a winning culture. If we don't make the playoffs, of course, I'll be heartbroken to see another team in the East, take advantage of this bad division and actually make the playoffs. And it sucks that it was stripped out of our hands. Of course, I'll be upset. But am I going to be down in the dumps about this team and say it was another bad year? Absolutely not. Because at the same time, although we don't like to talk about it, we get a better draft pick.
How many times have we said this team should be? Well, I say it all the time. We really should be 5-0 in the division. So that gives us two more wins. How many times do we say this team should be 6-6 right now? Like for real,
right?
Like even if we end up not making the playoffs, this was a good year. It really was.
Yeah,
and it's not like under Pat Shurmur where there was always coaching questions from the head coach. There are not really any coaching questions with me from the head coach. The only person I'm questioning is Garrett, and I convinced myself in the middle of the stream to give him another year just because of the weird situation 2020 has been.
Right, and if you look at, we talked about it in the offseason so much. I mean, it almost got so repetitive talking about it, but we always talked about it. How the obstacles Joe Judge had to overcome here, and we're still a competitive football team. He's a new head coach. He's never been a head coach before. He's dealing with a new team, a new staff, a totally rebranded roster. I mean, this roster is completely revamped. The starters consist of mostly guys, either rookies or guys on their rookie contracts. I mean, he had so many odds against him. He's in the Big Apple. He's getting a lot of scrutiny because he was chosen over a lot of other inexperienced more experienced guys. I mean, he had all the odds stacked up against him, and he still found a way to have a competitive team with one of the hardest strength of schedules in the NFL. I mean, I think they were like the fourth hardest schedule in the NFL, something like that, right? Somewhere in the top 5. They had a terrible schedule to work with, and this whole season we're like, oh my god, if they have a terrible year, just don't just blame it on Joe Judge. It's his first year. But listen, he's doing just a damn good. He said, I don't need your sympathy. Screw your sympathy. I mean, he's out there performing and competing with the best of the coaches out there and making some good decisions. I don't think we've ever yet. It's week 13, and Joe Judge still has yet to make a crucial mistake in a game as far as clock management, as far as
my biggest complaint about Joe Judge has been something that honestly not a lot of people complain about. It was my biggest complaint, but there was always a good counter argument to it. My biggest complaint about him for like the first 8 weeks has been, why do we continue running into games with 4 wide receivers?
That's exactly what I say. The roster management.
There was always a good counter argument to it, though. It's because that 5th spot for the wide receiver was used as an extra spot for a cornerback to help supplement the defense.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, and that made a lot of sense as well. Andy P is saying a lot of what I feel as well. He says, I wish I could go back and slap myself for reacting the way I did when we hired Judge. Me, the same. I still remember the exact moment when I found out Joe Judge was announced as head coach. I was in my office in the post office, we're casing up mail, and I got my friends who are Tampa Bay fans. Ha! You guys hired the Patriots wide receiver coach. I thought he was lying. I said, no freaking way. I'm like, what happened to Matt Rule? What happened to Rule? And and I looked, Matt Rule is Carolina's head coach, and Joe Judge is the Giants head coach. I said, oh my God, we settled. Oh my God, we settled. What did we do? And I remember being so heated. My face was red because everybody was like, all my coworkers were like, this guy got a Patriots wide receiver coach and a special teams coordinator. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know who this guy is. I don't even know we interviewed him. Did we interview him? I didn't even know that. And then I made the video. I think I was at the gas station. I was at the gas station parking lot because I had to, as soon as I got out of my office, had to stop. Didn't even wait till I finished. Had to stop, make a video. Got heated. Then a week later, he does his press conference. And I'm like, oh my God, I like this guy.
It wasn't even a week. It was the same day his press conference, I think was.
No, I think it was, maybe not a week later. Maybe I think it was a couple of days later, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was the exact day. But yeah.
Listen, I'm lucky that with both the DJ and the Judge hiring, I had a couple hours to cool down and gather my thoughts. Right. With the DJ thing, the next morning when I made my video, I was like, I'm gonna give the dude a chance. Let's see what he could do. With the Judge thing, I think I didn't make a video until I saw the press conference, so I had like a couple days to really gather my thoughts, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give him a chance. He sounds real good. And then somebody just brought Joseph Balby says, as soon as I heard he was a kindergarten teacher, I was like, wow, but man, Judge is legit. The whole teaching thing, he was actually a teacher. And he preaches teaching football to these guys.
Teacher.
Yeah, he was like actually a teacher. So it makes sense how much they've learned this season.
Yeah, he has a degree in teaching. So, I mean, listen, Joe Judge just knows what it takes to get it done.
Kindergartners who it's a struggle to get them to sit down in their seat in the first place. If you could teach them, you could teach football. And
you know what that requires?
Patience.
Yes, said at the exact same time.
Patience. Man.
That's hilarious. But yeah, patience is what is required when you're dealing with kindergarten, especially when you're dealing with grown men who have making millions of dollars to get to do whatever they want to do. And also developing a team in a COVID situation, in a pandemic, and something that nobody really expected to come, and everybody had to adapt with no preseason, no training camp, no anything like that. So I mean, you got to give it to Joe Judge. I mean, he should definitely be a candidate for Coach of the Year. I just wouldn't give it to him yet.
I did see that Bad Dog, shout out to Bad Dog Sports. He made a video yesterday saying that Judge should be considered Coach of the Year. What do you think?
I wasn't able to catch the video. I wasn't able to watch it, but I know that he posted it.
What is the idea?
The idea, yes. Under the Coach of the Year candidates, he should definitely be there, but I don't think it will be fair if he wins it over
somebody like Flores or Tomlin.
Flores.
I know. I think it's fair if he runs it over Tomlin, though. Like, I got to give them both.
Yeah, I think you can make a fair case with Tomlin. It's the only thing that I don't like about giving the Coach of the Year to Tomlin is that because people are just surprised that they're undefeated, but Pittsburgh is usually a great franchise. I mean, he's been a great coach there for years now. Now, he's never won Coach of the Year. That's probably why he probably should win it this year. But at the same time, you talk about a team that came out of nowhere. Talk about a team that had no expectations and that had playoff implications this year. Not the Giants situation where the division sucks. Playing in a good AFC East division,
which is weird to say.
Right, weird to say, but very competitive with the Buffalo Bills. I mean, Brian Flores. Now Tomlin is doing a great job. He's always been a fantastic coach, but I put in my vote for Brian Flores, and I know that sucks because he's the new guy, and Tomlin probably deserves it. But Tomlin has always been a really good coach. You talk about a guy that came out of nowhere and is doing what he's doing with the Dolphins, in a franchise that's not used to winning. I mean, he deserves a lot of respect. And for having a quarterback carousel and still winning games.
And I'll tell you this, man. I would love if that happens because it only makes things better for Judge. It's going to, once again,
helps the coaching tree.
Turn around the reputation of the Belichick coach. The Belichick coaching tree in like the past 5-6 years has taken a dip with guys like Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels.
Got fired. Yeah.
Matt Patricia, Bill O'Brien, the worst example. But it's making a turnaround with guys like Mike Vrabel and Brian Flores and now Joe Judge. And I'll tell you what, with Flores and Judge, I legitimately think Belichick personally groomed them. I think Belichick groomed Flores to be his next good head coach disciple. Because Flores, his last year with New England was their linebackers coach, right? But Belichick gave him the additional the additional responsibility of calling defensive plays. So he was technically the defensive coordinator while still being the linebackers coach. And I think that Belichick was grooming Flores from a while, and that was his final pin in the bonnet and to send them off with good experience to be a head coach. And it worked. The same thing I think he did with Judge. Judge was always a special teams guy, and then Belichick gave him the extra responsibility of being the wide receivers coach as well. I think that these two dudes, the reason they're having success is because I think he literally built them up. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they are honestly going to be the best guys that come from that coaching tree, the Belichick coaching tree, bar none. I mean, Vrabel is getting there to being one of the better guys out there, but I mean, out of McDaniels and Patricia and O'Brien, not a good guys to
I will say this. It's not, I don't think it's a coincidence. We're talking about correlation and causation again. I don't think this is just correlation. I think it is causation that with Flores and Judge, attitude-wise, they're just good people and they have good attitudes.
Oh my God. Those people are stand-up guys,
compared to Patricia, McDaniels, and O'Brien, who are just terrible. They got bad attitudes.
They've all got tempers, right?
They all got tempers.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a correlation. I think that's legit a causation. And I think maybe because these guys got better attitudes and they don't got that temper, Belichick took a liking to them and it was like, I am going to help groom you.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if Josh Valencia is still in the chat here, but as far as what's his name, Brian Flores goes, everybody, the Giants fans, we're used to Joe Judge. We're listening to his press conferences. And of course, guys aren't probably watching Miami Dolphins press conferences, but Brian Flores is another well-spoken coach, another guy that you could instantly respect. And I could see why Miami is playing as hard as it. Listen, what the Giants are feeling right now in that coaching room and in the locker room and how the players are reacting to the coaching is exactly what they're feeling in Miami right now. No, all right? They are playing for that coach.
We said it before. We just compared how similar Flores and Judge is and why we think they're going to be successful. Mm-hmm. Giants this year is Miami last year, and because of that, I hope that the Giants next year will be what Miami is this year. I really don't think that's a coincidence considering who the two coaches are.
I completely agree. All right, so guys, we're going to be wrapping this up now. It's almost 11 o'clock. We're going to be wrapping about 5 to 10 minutes, depending how the chat is looking. And make sure you guys leave your final questions and comments before we head out and anything you guys want us to answer, especially leading up to this game against Seattle.
Oh, that's a good point, Joseph. Technically, Vrabel isn't part of the coaching tree. He was only a player. That is true.
Yes, but he coached. I mean, at the same time, Belichick coached Vrabel. So Vrabel was around that environment. So he of course, he would take up on things that he learned as a player. So I still put him part of that coaching tree.
Mm-hmm. Joseph Balby wants a mod.
Oh yeah, I gotta add the mods. You know what, everybody? I got my notebook here. I was writing down notes for other videos.
This man's gonna write it down.
Because I keep forgetting. Because I do this from stream. Guys. don't take it personal, everybody. It's just my schedule is just crazy. I don't really necessarily like go into YouTube Studio all that often except to upload a video. So I'm going to write down everybody right now that I need to put in. And first guy, Joseph Balby, right? Joseph Balby.
While you take down the names, Patrick Torres says, "Do I think Slayton is having a sophomore slump?" By definition, 100%, 100%. I don't think it's completely his fault. You know, he has been injured. When he's been on the field, you know, you could say it's his fault when he's not taking full advantage of the opportunity he's given. And then in addition to that, he's been given limited opportunities. So there's a lot of factors, but by definition, 100% Darius Slayton's having a sophomore slump. I don't think that's a debate.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
Anthony Martinez says, do we look at the Bradbury versus Metcalf matchup and compare it to the Darrell Revis versus Calvin Johnson matchup? It's funny you mentioned this because DK is being compared to Megatron a lot now.
Listen.
Wait, before you get into that, I've seen a comparison of Bradbury to Revis before. Now, when Revis was playing in his prime,
24.
When Revis was playing in his prime, you know, I was a very new football fan, and because I was only Giants, I never really got to see him play.
Right.
But somebody's gonna need to explain the Bradbury to Revis comparison. I ain't complaining if it's true, but that would be amazing.
They do play very similar. They had the same kind of body build there. And they were the same number as well. But yeah, I could see the similarities there. I'm not gonna say that he is Revis. I won't over it because Revis was, oh my god, Revis was insane. Just why that it gives me goosebumps watching him play. He didn't allow anything. That's why they call him Revis Island. I mean, everything was just don't throw his way. I'm gonna rant a little bit on.
It's too early for these DK Megatron comparisons.
Yeah. First of all, DK was like, "Oh, I felt some type of way or something like that." When Doug Peterson said, "I know." Listen, here's one thing. You know how I get
like DK. Shut up, bro.
You know how I can shut that down right now. Calvin Johnson wouldn't have played hot potato with that ball in the end zone. He would have caught that touchdown. Okay, he jumped up for no reason and was like this with the football, and he dropped it. Okay, and even in past games, he had terrible drops. You're no Megatron. Don't ever try. And that's disrespectful to Megatron. He should have said something, kid. You're not me. I would have caught that ball.
That was so disrespectful to Megatron.
Yeah. Megatron would have had 300 yards in that game.
I don't think people realize how much of a different beast Megatron was, bro.
And he wasn't
Megatron was
he retired in his prime.
Exactly. When he was in his prime and he was number one, it was not close. I'm telling you, there was nobody debating who was the best. They were all debating who was number two. That's how much of a difference. Like, he's just such a different beast. And I'm like, it's way too early for these comparisons between DK and Calvin Johnson. It makes no sense. Calvin Johnson was by far something else. Let me tell you. I don't think we'll ever see DK. He could be a really great Hall of Fame receiver at his peak. I still don't think he'll be anywhere near Megatron, man.
Let me tell you, if Calvin Johnson played out his career fully and actually played for a championship team, because the Lions were just not doing it. Like, Matt Stafford was a great quarterback for him.
Regarded as the best wide receiver ever, man.
Calvin Johnson would be the equivalent of in the NFL as Michael Jordan is to the NBA. That's how good Calvin Johnson was. Like, when you think of Calvin Johnson, you think of immediately NFL. It's the same way you think of the random name Michael Jordan. Like, anybody can have the name Michael Jordan, right? Your neighbor down the street could be named Michael Jordan. That's how common of a name that is. But what happens when you think of Michael Jordan? You think of NBA. You think of the Chicago Bulls. If Calvin Johnson played played all of his career out, and he still stood in his prime and all that, his name would be, when you think of Calvin Johnson, you think of NFL, Detroit Lions, or whatever it is.
I mean, all we need to talk about is his nickname.
Megatron.
The man is called Megatron. Megatron
this is coming from two huge Transformers fans. Okay,
bro,
we're very huge Transformers fans.
Earned that nickname, Megatron, bro. He was just different, bro. He was something else.
Give me the ball, boy.
Exactly. Oh my god, and it's so sad that he retired when he did, man. Because him and Matthew Stafford deserves. Matthew Stafford is extremely underrated quarterback right now.
One of my favorite.
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks.
Yes,
too,
I love Matthew Stafford.
I've said that.
I've said that ever since I started watching like Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson play. And this is like when I started watching other teams play. Like, I would just watch the Giants when I was a kid. But when I started watching other teams play, like back in like 2012 or 2013 or whatever, I watched Calvin Johnson and Matt Stafford. I'm like, oh my god, I like Matt Stafford. Oh my god, I like Calvin Johnson. And these guys were like I mean, I would like watching Detroit Lions for them, but they would always lose.
Believe it or not, guys, at one point, I want to say like a good 2-3 year period, Matthew Stafford was my favorite quarterback in the league. I just loved the way he played.
I
Just
did
incredible arm, man.
I did a project back in high school, like what your favorite thing is, and I put the NFL. I think it was Calvin Johnson and Colin Kaepernick I had as my favorite quarterbacks. But yeah, not Colin Kaepernick anymore. But Matt Stafford definitely one of my favorites. But yeah.
Yeah, man. He's not gonna get out of Detroit. He's probably gonna retire early on some honorable one team type of thing. I definitely respect, but
Yeah,
goddamn, him and Calvin need to get out of Detroit so bad,
Matt
man.
Stafford needs to join the Patriots.
Well, it's not gonna happen. He's on a contract like that unless they trade for him.
Unless they trade for, I think they would, because the disaster that's going on with Cam Newton right now.
Oh man,
they need a passing quarterback, and Cam Newton's just not the guy.
Bro,
they need a passing quarterback.
Speaking of quarterback changes, kind of getting into general NFL now. Carson Wentz needs to get out of Philly, and he needs to get to the Colts.
Keep him in Philly.
If he wants to revive his career, the only place it's going to work is in the Colts with Frank Reich.
And let me tell you right now, I like Carson Wentz. I follow him on social media. I follow him on Instagram and stuff like that. He's a well-rounded dude. Really good guy. He's strong in the faith as well, man. This guy, he's a really awesome dude. But I just hate he's an Eagle. But I hope he stays an Eagle so he could ruin the franchise. That's it. More than it already is.
Leaves, I mean, Jalen Hurts starts, bro.
Very, very true. But at the same time, they won't have any bind to Jalen, not any financial bind to Jalen Hurts, and they'll just draft another quarterback. At least when they have Carson Wentz, they have a financial bind to him, and they're not going to draft one if they're paying him like buku dollars a year. So.
Shout out to Nikki in the chat. I see Cookie Monster been saying that we're young, so we haven't seen Randy Moss. Randy Moss is another great one, but I obviously Calvin is who we saw, but Randy Moss, you could definitely argue.
Randy Moss back in 2007 was his best season. What do you mean? I watched Randy Moss.
Listen, I don't think anybody's arguing that Randy Moss is the better receiver, but I'm arguing Calvin is just different, bro. He's just different.
That man was just built different. Like Randy Moss was a stick. Calvin Johnson was a truck. I mean, the dude was huge.
He should have been playing like outside linebacker or something.
Yeah, that dude. No, and that's why every time in Madden Ultimate Team, the dude is always the out of position card is a strong safety. The dude's just huge.
Shout out to Nikki in the chat, by the way.
BBN says I am here. Yeah, right when we're about to end, loser. Let's see. Nikki, thank you so much, Nikki. Also, don't forget about me too.
she did say fellas.
Yeah.
What an S.
Oh, she fellas. Happy birthday, fellas. Oh yeah. I just saw hub at the end, but yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Nikki.
But yo, you know what? Let's throw this in there. Me and KB were talking about this. I brought it up as a joke. Listen, and we're gonna throw it in right here at the end of the stream. We're both realistic fans, but I will say this: there's currently. I love that emoji, bro. I absolutely love that emoji. There's currently an undefeated team in the AFC, and there's a Giants team making a run at the end of the season that probably make the playoffs and was not expected to be there. Last time there was an undefeated team in the AFC and the Giants made a run at the end of the season to make that playoffs, we all know what happened. I'm going to just put that out there.
Listen, when there's an undefeated team in the AFC, we need a hero. And who is that hero? Big Blue.
It's the Giants, bro.
The Giants, man. The Giants are the hero to save us all.
I low-key want the Steelers to go 16-0 just because they got...
It's destiny. It's destiny. Eli will be like, listen, you are going to make the playoffs, and you will kill that undefeated if I have to play myself.
Listen, bro. No team that's undefeated is weak. But the Pittsburgh Steelers at 11-0 right now definitely got a couple of games they won that 100% was just like, yo, this is really what you got on your schedule? Like, this is your
Don't they remind you of the 2015 Carolina Panthers? Like, they're almost undefeated. I think they lost the last game of the season.
15-1, yeah.
Yeah, they went 15-1. They lost against Atlanta or something like that. But, I mean, everybody was like, because I remember when they were like 8-0. And they were like, okay, yeah, this is the worst team to be undefeated. They'll be defeated soon. And then they wound up being the last remaining undefeated team. And then they lose like the last game of the season. I mean, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they made it to the Super Bowl, but they lost.
And they fell.
Yeah.
Like, listen, any team that has such a good record, I don't think there's ever been one that closed it out in recent NFL history.
Right. The only time it's really happened, it was
Dolphins.
the Dolphins. Because look at Baltimore. They went like 14-2 last year, and they didn't even make the Super Bowl.
And it would be so great.
I mean, yeah, I said the Ravens, right? You're Ravens. The Ravens went 14-2.
It would be so great if somehow this is really not going to happen, because that would be, if this happens, I don't know what, I'd like explode out of happiness. But it'd be so great if the Giants somehow make the Super Bowl and we meet the undefeated Steelers there, and we played them in the last game of our season, and it was the first game of our season.
Right.
Ooh, poetry, man.
And let me tell you, that would be amazing, because I grew up in Pennsylvania as well. I have a lot of friends that are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. I actually have this friend growing up that she's a huge diehard Steelers fan. And we always told each other, like, we need to live to see a Giants Steelers Super Bowl. Like, that would be the best thing ever. Because I have a soft spot.
There should have been a Manning versus Roethlisberger Super Bowl, man.
And for anybody that doesn't know, I have a little bit of a soft spot for Pittsburgh, just because I grew up watching them, because I lived in Pennsylvania, so I watched them a while. I have a little bit of soft spot for Pittsburgh. And so I would love to see a Super Bowl between them and beating them in the Super Bowl. That'd just be that, like you said, it'll be poetry. It'll be poetry for me too. So
it probably ain't gonna happen, but if it does, ooh, oh my God. Jaden Dawkins says Steelers ain't beating the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs are set to repeat. They're gonna be the first team to repeat in like damn near
since the Patriots back in 2000, almost 20.
They repeated 01, 02, 03, right?
No, they didn't three-peat.
Okay.
They went 01, 02, missed 03, and went to 04. So they went 01, 02. So that
so like 18 years, yeah.
Yeah. So I believe the first one was against the Rams.
Shout out to Marjorie. Oh, and Authentic in here. He says, told everyone to come and rate us from the Bad Dog channel. Thank you.
2003, 2004. Oh, I thought it was 01, 02.
So I was right, like 15, 16
years. Then it was 01, then 03, 04. Okay.
Apparently we're getting rated. Thank you, Authentic. That's what I'm talking about.
We're being rated by who? Who's rating us?
Authentic.
Oh, my man. What's going on out there? I appreciate that, man. Everybody just got all bad on what's up. What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Well, I guess we can go a little longer then.
Yeah, we could go a little longer if y'all got the questions.
Yeah, we got the questions. We'll keep it going. We pretty much talked about all the topics we can, guys. But you guys are killing it with the questions right now. And we're answering a lot of things.
We literally talked about all the topics we could, and then we just got into hypotheticals and Giants fascination, along with a little bit of Calvin and Matt Stafford talking. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, we got a little bit of general NFL talk, but yeah, welcome everybody new in the stream, or everybody that just joined in that may not be new to the channel. Authentic is the GOAT, man. Authentic is what quickly becoming one of my favorite channels to watch. In general, the guy has the voice of a radio angel, man. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to listen to Authentic in the Beard, man? I love their live streams as well. Can I get a recap of your opinion of the Giants QB situation?
Before we do that, let's do a recap. I see Nikki asking about Leo, because we spent like a good 40 minutes talking about Leo. It's crazy, but we legitimately spent like 40 minutes talking about Leo. So if we do a quick recap of that, there's a couple stats. Listen, I'm willing to pay Leo $17 million a year because I want to keep this defense together. I'm not going up to 20 because there's only 3 defensive tackles being paid 20 plus right now. Chris Jones, DeForest Buckner, and Aaron Donald in that increasing order. I don't think he's up there, but I will say stats-wise, he's having Aaron Donald close, stats. You know what I'm saying? In terms of defensive tackles, he's only second to Aaron Donald in sacks. And percentage of what was it? I think it was pressures converted into sacks. He's in Aaron Donald territory as well. Now, like I said, he's not Aaron Donald, which is why I'm not giving him 20 mil. But I do think he could improve next year when we get a couple of our edge rushers back. And it's like a puzzle piece. I feel like we need him for this defense to work. So 17, 18 mil was what I was saying earlier during the podcast.
Yeah, and I completely agree. Listen, I can't pay Leonard Williams $20 million. I just can't do it. I mean, we have so many other guys we have to keep on the team, and so many guys in other years we need to keep on the team, like Jabril Peppers as well, who's going to be a penny free agent next offseason.
Which means we need to extend him this offseason.
Right. We have to do what we can with to keep these pieces together. I really want to keep around Logan Ryan. Let's see if we can get him on a multi-year contract. Really want to keep around Dalvin Tomlinson. Really want to keep around Jabril Peppers. Bunch of these guys that just we cannot afford to lose.
Let's list right now dudes that we need to either extend or re-sign this offseason. Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers for our 2 starting safeties, and we'll see how that works out with McKinney next year if we get both of them back. Dalvin Thompson, Leonard Williams, 2 starting defensive linemen.
Right. I'm trying to think of offensive guys too.
I don't know if there's offensive guys, but this depends heavily with the Giants how they grade out Kyler Fackrell and Jabbar Sheard. If they want to bring them back, both of them would also be this offseason. There's a good amount of defensive pieces right there.
I wouldn't mind bringing back these guys for depth as well, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't take big contracts just because they had just Kyler Fackrell has been with us since we started, and he's been going through some injuries. He put on IR, so they may say, hey, you were put on IR, you were out for the rest of the season. You may not get another shot somewhere with better money. So I mean, come to us. And then Jabbar Sheard as well. He just got here, so I would imagine he would be on a vet minimum deal as well as a prove it deal. So that would be nice to have as a good rotation to put in there with O'Shane, put in there with Lorenzo Carter as well. Listen, we're going to have a good rotation of guys, and I imagine the Giants are going to get some kind of a pass rusher in this draft. Don't know where that would be, but I imagine they'll draft somebody to kind of push these young edge rushers a little bit because, I mean, O'Shane is just like, do something, O'Shane, do something. So this is bring back Ryan Connolly. I'm getting a lot of Kenny Golladay comments in here.
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
I want
guys.
to say part of the reason is because I saw floating around on Twitter. I forgot which site it was, but one of those reputable sites were mocking that the Giants were going to sign Kenny Golladay in the offseason.
I don't want it to happen. Listen, first of all, I love Kenny Golladay. Love him. I love Allen Robinson. I love Kenny Golladay. The reason why I don't put him in here is that because we have other places to really spend our money on besides the wide receivers. Now, I know that sounds contradictory because we've been ranting about wide receivers just about the whole entire year. But we draft them because you save a lot of money and you don't want a guy like Kenny Golladay who's constantly hurt. He's barely played any games this season. And on top of that, he hasn't been as consistent as well. And you want to pay him $20 million. We just got rid of an Odell Beckham who's making $20 million. And look at the talent in which we got rid of. So I'm not gonna go out and bring in an Allen Robinson or a Kenny Golladay when we can just either sign some free agents, sign some like smaller free agents next year to help with the depth, and then draft a really good wide receiver depending on where we're drafting from. But that's how I really want to, get things going. I don't want to spend big money on a wide receiver. It usually never works.
I wouldn't mind.
Usually never works.
He's saying Stills on a cheap contract. I wouldn't mind getting Kenny Stills on it. I do mean cheap on a cheap contract because CJ Board's probably going to walk. Damian Ratley's probably going to walk. Dante Pettis is probably going to walk. So Kenny Stills would be good wide receiver depth on a cheap contract that I wouldn't mind getting. So it was PFF. That's who it was. That predicted we signed.
Since when did PFF make mock free agent signings?
I don't know, but I saw it on Twitter.
What are they experts in that too? What kind of grading system do they use for that?
I got no idea. Somebody else asked a quick recap what we thought about the quarterback situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I think we're going to stay close in this game no matter who our quarterback is, just because the
Seattle's defense is that bad.
Not only that, but the Eagles defense did a pretty good job of holding down Seattle scoring. And I think we're a better team than the Eagles, both offensively and defensively. We are a better team than the Eagles on the defensive side. So I think we're going to have a good time in Seattle holding them down. And then offensively, we should be able to run the ball. And honestly, Colt McCoy should be able to pass on this really terrible pass defense from Seattle. And the dude even admitted himself he was rusty, so I expect him to play better than he did against Cincinnati. He was like, yo, man, I haven't thrown a ball in God knows how long. Mm-hmm. He's going to be practicing with first-team guys. Remember, but he wasn't expecting to go in there against Cincinnati, so he was practicing, with basically the practice squad. So I do expect him to play a little bit better.
Yeah, and listen, I said this in the beginning of the stream because that's kind of what we opened up with. There is no team I feel comfortable Colton McCoy starting against than the Seattle Seahawks, not because of Russell Wilson, but because of the pass defense of Seattle. Listen, if you take right now the stats of Seattle's defense that they're giving up, the yards, the quarterback rating, everything. If you turn that into a quarterback, right? If you take those stats and put it on a quarterback, and the projected stats are better than Peyton Manning's 55 touchdown year, that better than any other quarterback's year you've ever seen in your life. That's how bad this defense is. Okay, better than any Drew Brees year, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning better than any of those guys. Okay,
and I
that's
see the
how
chat
bad
talking
that
about
pass defense is.
Wayne Gallman. We talked about contracts. A good amount of the podcast we spent also talking about contracts. I was like, I would give Leo 17. I gotta extend Jabril Peppers this year, so I'm giving Peppers. I want to give him something like 12. You know what I'm saying? This would all depend on what everybody else gets. I would love to get Logan Ryan back on maybe a 3-year, $8-9 million deal. Dalvin Thomas.
Wait, hold on. I think you mean 3-year, 24. I mean, just for the people in the chat.
Okay, I mean like 3 years,
yeah,
9 million per year,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dalvin Thomason, he says he wants a discount. So hey, man, that
Yeah,
better be like an $11 million deal,
right?
Yo,
Right.
And then people brought up Wayne Train, who we forgot about. That's somebody in the offensive end. If the Giants want to keep his contract, is up right now. We don't have a 5th-year extension on him. They didn't pick that up. So if Wayne Coleman is with the Giants next year, it's going to be on a new contract.
He doesn't get a 5th year because only first rounders get a 5th year.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he was a 4th selection.
So if Wayne Train is on the team next year, what do you sign him back to?
I'd say I'd give him 2 years. I'd give him two years 10. 2 years 10.
Just a 2-year deal?
Just a 2-year deal. Because he's a backup running back. I'm not signing him for like 4 years or something like that. Just a backup running back. I'd say 2 years, $10 million. Sounds fair.
Okay. I have no idea what he's going to get. I can't even project that. Because Wayne Gallman might be capping in the offseason and saying that he wants, like, don't be surprised.
Right,
I'm not saying that he is. And I don't know the type. I hope Wayne Gallman is a pretty good dude. He seems like a pretty good dude. He's a very likable person. I just hope he doesn't cap in the offseason when it comes to getting his bag, bro. I don't hope he walks in. He's like, all right, bro, I want $10 million a year. I'm going to be like, all right, you can leave. If the door is right there, you can go.
Yvette said I'm getting him 3 to 4 years. You don't really want to give him I could see a 3-year deal. I just can't give him a 4-year deal. He's a backup. I mean, not a backup, but he's gonna be backed up with Saquon Barkley. It's gonna be weird giving him for 3 years unless you have a 4-year deal was completely team friendly and you can cut him afterwards. So 3 years, $12 million. So that's like $4 million a year. That's not bad either. $4 million. Like I said. That's why I gave him 2 years and $10 million as opposed to like a 3-year 12 because the 2 years is less years, but it's more money. So he might want to take that over because listen, for a backup running back, they don't want to be held to a big contract. They don't want 3, 4 years, 5 years because they want an opportunity to start somewhere else. So a Wayne Gallman, if he comes back to the Giants, he's going to want a 1 to 2 year deal because he's probably going to want to prove himself so he could be a starter somewhere else. So
Will says running back by committee, Saquon, Wayne. Devontae Freeman is not going to be back next year. By the way, Devontae Freeman is returning this game, I think, which is weird because I still don't know why he was out that long. I know it was some type of ankle injury.
Right.
We didn't even get that much information on it. He was knocked out for a good 5 weeks. TD has a pretty good one, though, because I voted just now on the Pro Bowl for like the 41st time. He's like, other than Graham Gano and James Bradbury, who should make the Pro Bowl? I voted for Dexter Lawrence, Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, Blake Martinez, James Bradbury, Logan Ryan, Jabril Peppers, Graham Gano, Riley Dixon, Casey Crater. So I voted for quite a few. You pick out of that pool who you think is Pro Bowl worthy.
Right. We got a question here. It says, what would it take for Joe Judge to win Coach of the Year? Here's the thing. There's not much you can take now because Coach of the Year is a regular season award, not a playoff award. Now, if you lead a team to the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure you'll be recognized for that, but what you do in the playoffs doesn't count for Coach of the Year. So that's like that in every sport, unfortunately. But like I said,
at the beginning of the year, KB said to me on one of our very first collabs, he was like, "Hey, yo, bro, if Judge, considering everything he has to go through this year, does lead the team to the playoffs, he should be considered one of the greatest coaches ever." Do you still stand by that?
For the Giants, yeah. That's a little bit of a trick question because we would be making the playoffs with like a 6-10 record. But the fight that he put in this team and, the fact that he had this team fighting to make this playoff spot in the hole that they were in, we started off 1-7. Check this out. We were 1-7 back in 2017 with Pat Shurmur and that team.
No, that was Ben McAdoo, 2017.
2017.
2018,
2018. No, it was 2018 then. It was 2018. We were 1-7.
That was
And
the year Odell said we're gonna run the table.
yes, and it got everybody excited because we went 2-7, and we're like, oh my god, we can make the playoffs. And then that team died out. This team, we're in week 13, and they have not died out.
You know what's funny? That team died during that Colts game, and we kept that Colts game close too. They died during the Colts game, and then their grave got stomped on the next week against the Titans, where they scored 0 points.
Yeah, this team is the complete opposite of that 2018 team. I'll say he'll be an honorable mention. Yeah, I'd say he'll be an honorable mention. Like, he should be in the candidacy, right? He should be a candidate for Coach of the Year. I just don't think he should win it. I think
you got to highlight Zachary's comment. Zachary obviously just tuned in. Highlight Zachary's.
What's going on?
Zachary, this is the fantasy I was talking about before.
Oh my God, yeah, Zachary, you said exactly what we were saying. That there's an AFC team that's undefeated and the Giants need to save. They need to save the day. They need to save the NFL from this from an undefeated team. No, everybody needs to lose. Everybody needs to lose at some point.
Bro, literally right before y'all tuned in.
You know what the Giants are? The Giants are the equalizer, man. We got an undefeated team. All right, let's take them out.
Shout out to everybody that came in, by the way. I see obviously Zachary, Jared Williams, Jeff123. Literally right before you guys came in, I was just telling KB and the chat, I was like, yo, Pittsburgh's undefeated. AFC team is undefeated. Yep. The Giants might make the playoffs on a year-end run when at the beginning of the year ain't nobody had them going to the playoffs. Last time that happened, we know what happened. Last time that happened. Last time Giants made a second half run straight into the playoffs and there was an undefeated team in the AFC, history was made. And I said this in my skit too. Last time the Giants were first place in the NFC East, it was Super Bowl season. It was 2011. Last time we were first place in the NFC. Listen, I'm not saying it's Super Bowl season.
It repeats itself, doesn't it?
But history be repeating itself sometimes.
Yeah. Oh man, I love it. TD just said, I saw a rumor Doug Peterson to the Jets if he gets fired.
Goes to the Jets.
That will be the worst thing for Doug Peterson and the worst thing for the Jets. I mean, it will be
hilarious.
That'll be a match made in hell right there. That's a match made in hell right there.
That'll be so hilarious, bro. But hey, he probably thinks he could do something with
Dude, imagine Trevor Lawrence's career being completely shot down by the Jets and Doug Peterson. Oh my God. Poor Trevor Lawrence, man. I like the guy, man, but he'll be Sam Darnold 2.0 and even worse. Man, we win a Super Bowl, I'm going to lose my mind. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all will. If we win the Super Bowl, man. I mean, I don't want to sit here and talk about Super Bowls just yet. I think we'll take it one game at a time. I like just same reason why I don't even want to talk about the draft yet. Listen, I just want to take this one game at a time. I want to enjoy the moment right now. I want to enjoy the Giants playing meaningful football.
I'm gonna tell you this though, Kid Blue. This might be a bit crazy, but have we already won the NFC East? Let's think about.
Hold on. I don't want to talk about it too much because that's what my video is going to drop after this live stream is over.
Oh my God! I can't even express the thought that popped in my head.
But the Giants if the Giants beat Seattle, I'm pretty sure they're clinched and not mathematically, but realistically, they clinched the NFC East. They beat Seattle.
I'm gonna go crazier than that. I'm saying right now we already clinched the NFC East.
I wouldn't say
yeah. This is why I said it's more crazy. But hear me out. Washington is our only competition. We have a tiebreaker on Washington, and we're tied with them for the best divisional record. So they're our only competition. I don't see Dallas catching up with either us or Washington. So let's just pretend that it would take 5 wins to win the NFC East, we already got it because we're going to beat Dallas. And Washington, even if they get 5 wins, because I'm looking at their schedule, I ain't seeing any other win other than that Eagles game. We might have already clinched the NFC East, bro.
Already? It's because the Cowboys, right?
Look at Washington's schedule. Who are they beating other than the Eagles on their schedule?
My only thing is that we can't get the Eagles close to our record because of the tie. That's it. I know Eagles may not win a game again, but who knows?
I'm convinced Eagles and Dallas are done, bro.
Right. I agree.
So that's why I'm like, low key.
Listen, I'd say I I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that far, but here's what I will say: if we beat Seattle, we clinched it.
Yeah, if we beat Seattle, no, not even. If we just won the next four
No,
teams.
well, yeah. Well, I'll just say that if we beat Seattle, we clinched it because that's a game we were projected to lose. And so if we still win the game we're projected to win, then it's done deal. We won. If we win one game, forget about Seattle. If
If we
we
just
win,
get 6 wins, if we
if
just get
we
6 wins.
yeah, if we win one game that we're projected to lose, we won the division.
That's
I mean,
I agree with Jared Williams. Whoever gets the 6 wins is winning the East, and it's between us and Washington. As long if we get a win before the Cowboys game, we clinch the East. That's all I'm gonna say. As long as we win one more before Cowboys, that's all we need.
Yeah. And Big Blue News says next 4 games are tough. No, they're getting more beatable. They're getting more beatable. Arizona is falling down a cliff. Baltimore is beatable. Let me tell you what. I think we match up well against Baltimore's offense because Lamar Jackson is not a great thrower, and I have a feeling we're going to contain him enough to make him throw, and he's going to make a mistake. I honestly think Baltimore is very beatable. Arizona is very beatable. Seattle's probably the hardest challenge we have, and Cleveland is probably the hardest challenge we have just because of their defense. But I think all of those games are very winnable. Now, I don't think we'll run the table. I think we'll slip up and lose a couple of them, but all of them are very beatable. All of them. But yeah.
Washington has a good D line, I would say, Marjorie. She says Washington has a good D. Now, they're still somehow ranked the number 1 pass defense in the league, but is their defensive line doing everything for sure?
Oh, for sure.
You know what? Let me bring up Washington's schedule, actually. I'll bring that up right now.
Okay. Yeah, you can share screen if you want. And as we get that going, Ravens run game.
All right, I take it back.
Stop, we win.
Washington might win against the 49ers.
That's what I'm saying. They have some winnable games.
I forgot they played the 49ers. I legitimately forgot that they played the 49ers, yo.
Right.
That's on me. But if we're looking at their schedule, so they definitely got 2 winnable in Eagles-Niners. I think they lose against Steelers. I think they lose against Seahawks, and I think they lose against Panthers. I really do think these 3 games are gonna lose.
Now pull up the Cowboys. Pull up the Cowboys' remaining schedule. I know the Cowboys suck; they're out of it, but at the same time, they still had the easiest schedule.
Look how beautiful this is.
Oh my god, that's just isn't that just like orgasmic right there, man?
Anyway, Cowboys, Ravens, Bengals, Niners, Eagles, then us.
Yeah. So I mean, I know the Cowboys suck.
Schedule by far.
Yeah,
I think they're done.
I know the Cowboys suck, but they could very well beat the Bengals. They probably are going to beat the Bengals, and they have a shot to beat the Ravens because they're coming off of that 4-game rest. So, we'll see what happens.
The only straight up, I think Cowboys is that simple for me. I literally think they're done, bro. I think they're done. And then we look at the Eagles, Packers. Eagles ain't winning another game on their schedule, bro. I'm calling it right now.
Oh, they're trash. Maybe I think the Eagles suck. I think the Eagles suck more than the Cowboys do.
The Eagles are gonna they're gonna finish with the worst record in the East, man. They really are.
Zachary said Kid Blue is upset the Cowboys are last. Oh man. All right. Yeah, but that's how it's looking like in the East.
Yeah, man.
That's how it's looking like in the East. Guys, I have been thinking about starting on YouTube recently for gaming and giant stuff. Not sure how to get started. Again, I got some tips. Listen, just as long as you have a camera, and that's how I started. As long as you have a camera and you don't say if you don't say
gaming, he said gaming. What system are you on? If you're on PlayStation, you're gonna need a capture card.
Yeah.
If you're on Xbox, you're fine. You just need to download the Xbox app on your computer. So get your equipment right.
Wait, what?
Gaming. Yeah, when I stream my Madden, I don't use a capture card. All you need is the Xbox app.
What about just capturing, not streaming?
I use OBS to capture it. I just pull up the Xbox app and then I have OBS recording it. It's been like that for years. You don't need a capture card if you're on Xbox.
Yeah, man, I feel dumb, dude. I feel so dumb.
Yeah,
I got a freaking capture card for no reason. I've been had this capture card for years. It's outdated.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got the Xbox app on your PC?
I could get it. I mean, it's not like it costs anything.
There's a button in the Xbox app. You connect to your Xbox over your internet, and then you stream your game to your computer, and you could do whatever you want with that footage that you're streaming to your computer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't use PCs like that, so I don't even know. I don't experiment with that. So I don't even play my Xbox is collecting dust. It's collecting dust. So, yeah, Kid Blue secretly has a themed, Cowboys theme. Man, listen, this is Giants here. Giants here. My little terrible towel here. All right. But yeah, no Cowboys shenanigans going on over here. Xbox Series X team. You got it already, BBN. You got it already.
I'd be surprised if he does. I'm saving up and get it like sometime mid next year.
I'm not. I'm not gonna get it yet. I'm not. I don't even play my Xbox now. I mean, why am I gonna spend that much money for that thing to sit there?
Get Game Pass, bro. Once you get Game Pass, you'll get hooked. Well, whenever you're home, you get hooked. Whenever I'm home, I got free time on Game Pass all the time. Anyway, that's a different thing. Shout out to Sabrina, Adrian, Tomilioso, Jeff. Yeah, you definitely gotta close it out soon here.
Yeah. So we'll close it out right now, guys. So that being said, this was an amazing stream. Thank you guys so much for joining in, especially everybody. We had the late flood that happened, little raid that happened. Thank you guys so much for joining in. This has been the Young Guns podcast. We do this every week on alternate channels. So this week it was on mine. Next week it will be on the Hubs. Same time. Every Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, where we talk everything New York Giants. And, of course, we talk some general NFL stuff as well. Anything else we want to talk about, we do that. So,
I do want to say, that's Kid Blue's dad is the reason he got the name BBS.
Why do people call KB BBS? Weird story. Not a long story, but a weird story. Probably one for another time. So
that's Kid Blue's dad and PTA's fault.
Yeah, PTA. Yeah. Oh, by the way,
the funny thing is, Kid Blue wasn't even on that stream. Me and PTA were streaming.
Yeah, I had to see that later.
KB's dad pulled up, said the most next level thing I've ever heard in my life, and then the nickname was born, bro. I never heard something like that in my life.
Yep, that's where I was birthed. But that being said, guys, it has been me. But from me and the Hub, we say good night and farewell.